Hello and welcome one and all to Octane Online Racing Series 6, Donington Park. I'm Jamie Saxon. I'm here with Mitch Hobbs. How are you doing tonight, Hobbsy?
Yeah, look, not bad, Jamie. And yourself?
Oh yeah, running a tiny bit behind, so a little bit flustered. I think everything's working on the stream. I see audio bars bouncing around. Everything looks okay. I haven't checked the live video. I think everyone's seeing my hideous face.
Look, we don't want to see that, but we're seeing it, so yeah.
That's it. They can see the Octane Online Racing hoodie that, as always, wearing. Super comfortable. Done a number of work meetings in it this week. It's been great. So do recommend when the next order's available, get in on that. We are doing Donington Park. Now, had you raced Donington Park before you hit it up last night?
Not in terms of a 60-minute one, but yeah, I've done like one other previous race. Oh, and then the GT4 series a while ago, but other than that, not really.
Right, because it's obviously been in iRacing and things like that for everyone who's played that. What's your hot take on it as a track? Like it, dislike it?
Look, for me, in terms of where I'd put it on a list of tracks that I like and don't like, it's probably towards the bottom. It's just not. I don't think it's made for GT racing. At least GT3 racing. GT4s, it's all right, but in terms of GT3 racing, it's not a fan.
So what I might try and do really quickly is I'll get up, if I can do this, add source, I want a picture, add a new source, image, track map. This is thrilling viewing, but I'd love to get the track map up so that people can see what we're talking about, because they made a fantastic track map image, and that should now be showing on everyone's screen so they can see the track map that we're talking about. And obviously you can bring it up on your window, and I need to be sharing my screen, I realise, so that you can see ACC when that time comes. But yeah, really a really interesting track, and as you can see, and I assume that everyone can see that on the video, they can. Fantastic. I found it a very technically challenging course, very technically challenging, and those who are familiar with my views on tracks will know that I've probably got an issue with what's described as the Fogarty S's in turn 9, because you can cut the absolute hell out of it. But I found it very, very hard transitioning on the power. So getting the car turned in was usually okay. Finding your braking point reference as always is a bit of a challenge. But how and when to apply enough power to get the speed out of the corner, very, very difficult. And almost every corner is like that. There's a different variation of that between the hairpins and some faster ones. Not super fast. Some mid-turn, some off-camber, coming up over a hill, all that kind of stuff. Am I saying something that's insane there? And it's a perfect time to check if I'm insane, because Braden Ross has just joined us.
Well, yeah, Braden, I'm sure.
What on earth are you trying to say?
I'm saying, and I've got to switch it to the on-track view now so people can see the cars, that I think that this is a very technical track. And I've just realised that I'm in split red, not split blue. So, you know what? Let's just put the track map just up again just for a second.
I was going to say, I wondered why there was very little cars.
Yeah, well, absolutely nothing happens in the background. Don't you worry about it.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, oh, it's time to go. It is.
I think, in terms of what you're saying, it is a technical track, but I think that is... Yeah, that's looking a bit better. It's one of those ones where you really have to nail it all the time consistently, because even one mistake, it's 3-4 tenths any corner, because it's probably, I dare say, it's the tightest track on the calendar, or at least on the Sprint Series calendar, and it just shows with the amount of people touching the grass, spinning, going wide, especially that fast right-hander up the hill. That is a culprit and a half. If you've got dead tyres, you're going wide there. So I think it also does depend on the car, but it's the main culprit. But, it supplies us with good racing.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. You guys let me know though when you want to hear my moment of shame, because I'll share that one. Maybe between when we're not watching actual cars.
We saw my moment of shame on stream, but firstly, more importantly, hold on, Mullock's back racing.
He is. Look at him. Currently P2. That's the best he's going to look all night. That's only because he had a good hitbox.
There he is. He's back after 4 months after his shoulder injury. I think he's more than excited for this.
Yeah, good to have him back. It was an unexpected injury that he did in his sleep. I don't know what he does in his sleep. Usually I sleep.
I was going to say I sleep too. But, you know.
Mate, it's a sign, right? Like, as you get older, you're like, guess what? I slept wrong. The thing that I thought I had mastered. The thing I thought I could do better than almost anyone else on this planet. No. Slept wrong. Now my back's sore, my leg's sore, my shoulder's sore.
It's funny. Like, you get so much practice doing it throughout your whole life. You do it almost every night. Sometimes in the day as well. And you still can't seem to get the hang of it, even though you don't do anything. It requires nothing. It requires no intelligence whatsoever. It requires no energy. In fact, you gain energy from doing it. And you still can't get the hang of it.
It's a bit special. Dilemma: get one of those pregnant women pillows. So I use a regular pillow that I kind of roll over inside. And I'm actually, my missus has suggested a few times that I get those. They're actually really, really good for sleeping posture, or so I hear. Anyway, that facet aside, so lap times that we're looking to see here: 1:26 to 1 minute 26 and to 1 minute 28 is kind of the window. In qualifying, you might be able to get a little bit more. In the race, we might go out to some 1:30s and things like that, depending on where you stand. As we see there, cut the hell out of it, Foggity S's.
That's because it's the Merc.
Well, like pretty much everything cuts that corner. And it seems like as long as your car as long as you're actually far enough into the cut, it's not super bouncy. If you're a little bit too middling, you'll hit the curbs really hard. It does shake the car around, but it's still so much quicker. I was doing.
We all know that Jamie loves a good corner cut.
We do.
We all know Jamie loves the good disrespecting the track limits.
We do.
So the thing that got me, I was really excited, right? Because as we said, I'll try and find someone, and I've realised I don't have the full one of the one HUD setting that I didn't get. That's not what I want. Is circuit map full. Turn that back on so we can see the full track. It's fine if I can grab them really 6. Car number 6. That's Bender, our old friend.
No way.
So you'll see here, it's already gone. There's usually a tyre pile that's been pushed off the track. And I just assumed that it was very much like the iRacing one, where that is a brick wall. And if you hit that, and so every lap you're going to be risking, like, how close can I get to this? How close can I get to this? But no, someone inevitably in practice or qualifying just takes it out. And you can actually cut it pretty hard.
It's just like a beach ball.
Yeah. It does really... You do really straight line it a fair bit. But I'm willing to accept it. For me, I think this is a great track.
If the tile's a little bit like a beach ball, can you kind of play a little bit of Rocket League in ACC at Donington?
Look, you could try. I've seen... you can definitely give it a go. I'd say it's possible, but... I think you'd probably get DQ'd before that happened.
Yeah, because you've got to drive backwards, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
Let's have a look at some of these lap times as they come in. It is a 15-minute qualifying session, so everyone's going to get a good amount of time.
They are.
But so far, the Mercedes of McCourt throwing down a 1:26.8. That is a very respectable time.
That's disgusting. That's, as a banker, that is territory for a... Scope goes wide. That's a potential for a 25.9, I reckon, if you can nail it.
Yep, I think you're about right on that one, and I think we would see them.
I wouldn't expect anything less from McCord. He's a very, very pacey man.
He is indeed.
I'm not liking the disgusting amount of Ferraris in the top 4.
No, I'm not either.
It's just bankers. It's just bankers. There we go.
Oh, it's okay. There you go.
In.
Other Sneakers has just gone up and put in a belter of a lap. Only 8/100ths off McCourt. That is a solid lap for him.
And it's a good timely reminder as well. If there's a driver specifically you're looking to see how they're performing, pull up pitwall.live and get that in. That's what I have as well to help me keep an eye on it.
Cam's told you to go to DM Saxon. I think there's some photos there for you.
Access to
Oh, there's a Ferrari in the wall. You liking that sight, Braid?
I love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Oh, Scope, what a lap. P1, 26.7.
It was extremely tight across those top 10. Look at Gallo and Kitching.
Yeah, it's a second already down to P, well, there's a bit of a gap, but P13 within 0.8 of the leader. That is what we like to, ladies and gentlemen, call close.
The top 6 currently splitting themselves less than half a tenth at a time, even less. Some of those margins between some of those drivers. Neil Alexander back in full force. He is in the top 6. He's doing really well. He's put himself in the pits. I dare say he's going to put on a fresh set of tyres and get a very small amount of fuel and go for just a few more laps to wrap this one up.
And as I say, I think he's picked a cracking week to come back.
Kitching's gone fastest, 26.6. What a lap.
Very nice. Let's find some improvers, or maybe who do we think is going to hit a big fly? Because this is the time where people go into the pits, they'll get a fresh set of boots. And I'll run it again. 15 minutes means you can do a couple of 4 or 5 lap stints.
I'd expect to see Reynolds make a bit of a jump up the pack here. Reynolds currently sitting in P11. As we see Van Vliet put himself into P8.
There we go.
Yeah.
Down to P16 is within a second.
Very powerful. Lenoida. It's a 1 at 27.3. That is his best so far. So really, some really interesting corners here. So that's turn 1, red gate. Really quite high speed. You can get on the throttle nice and early. Completely flat all the way through Hollywood. Through the Craner curves as well. Braking just as the curbing starts. Up into the old hairpin. How that was a hairpin, I'm not sure. Really difficult throttle transition I found on that one. Full flat up the hill into McLean's. On the brakes, get the nose pointed in. Get back on the power. Try not to drift too wide because those curbs will absolutely spit you out if you get out onto the dirt. Oh no, this is up the hill there, and that'll be Coppice down the straight. It's hard to really get a sense if you haven't driven it yet, and I think for everyone who has, I feel like I'm going to talk about it halfway through the night. It's just the transition on and off power and making sure that you can keep the power down, as we can see a Lamborghini that was not able to do so without looping the back of the car.
Yeah, just touching on the name Old Hairpin, I've just had a look at the old configurations of Donington. Not once has that corner ever looked like a hairpin. It has always looked like that. So I'm not too sure where they got that from.
Well, back in those times, they didn't have spec savers, so they might have thought that it was a hairpin.
Potentially. And as it's been pointed out in the chat as well, a big congratulations to JP. He won't be with us tonight because he has a newborn to attend to. And yet he's still in the chat with us as well. So,
well, he's got his priorities straight then.
That's it. But big congratulations to him from everyone. I think it's pretty safe to say. So now, as we see, that gap time, oh my goodness, what is that? Top 10 now, about a half-second window. And let's go find some big improvers. Unless there's someone specific you guys want to keep an eye on?
I do want to keep an eye on Malik, just to make sure he's okay.
Malik, is he alright? Yep. Other than that, maybe, as Braden said, Reynolds is probably one we're looking to jump up a bit more.
Yeah, you might be right. So, Sonikas was up a fair bit. Britt is up 0.3, and I'm gonna get in.
Hold on.
That's pole potential.
Watch as he cuts this, and you can see the car's actually quite stable, relatively, as long as you get that right.
Yeah, he's got 2 more corners to go as he approaches Melbourne hairpin. He doesn't want to go outside because we are in lockdown at the moment.
Yeah, look, that's true.
He stays inside. Very nice.
then here, just as the tyre marks start to build up into Goddard's, get the car turned around, back on the gas.
Ooh,
That's a
half
pole.
10th there. That's pole though, 26.4. What a lap.
And I think that's the largest margin we've seen from P1 to P2 at the moment. Still just over a 10. Still a very tight margin, but yeah, that is the largest margin we have seen. But there are some big improvers. Sasano is currently 3/10 up, coming into the S's. And he absolutely crunches a little more out of that delta. Loses a bit on the exit. 3.5 tenths to see what he can do with Melbourne Hairpin. It's to slow it up nicely. There is big gains through the middle of the corner. 3/10.
Yeah,
Exit not as good as the previous ones, but he is still up. He's found 2/10 through that one hairpin.
Ooh, didn't quite hit the apex there. He's going to lose time on exit. Not much though. He's going to put him up P19, so he's still a 10th off the next person. But the Porsche is very good out of that hairpin. Very stable. No bogging like the Audi cough. But yeah, this is close now. 7/10 off the lead. Finds another 10th out of the exit. Just hits the curve a bit too much. It's going to put him up P9 though, in front of Mullock.
He's got more in him. He dropped 3/10 in the Melbourne hairpin, if I remember correctly. So he'll know that the time's there, but it's so tricky. Let's get a look up here. McCourt has just taken pole back with a 2/10 gain, 126.379. Right behind him was, I think, Kitching, who must have scrubbed something later in his lap because he was 2/10 up. Reynolds is crossing the line for 3/10 gained himself. That'll get him up into P11 now. So let's just go back to this full view just so everyone can get a window of what we're talking about here. 1 second off the leader will get you P16. And this is, how have we got? 30 cars here tonight. So this is so tight. I mean, it's a shorter track. The lap times are a little bit shorter, so we expect to see that. But this is what it is. So Scott Blair on an invalid lap. So that's not going to really help. John Sneakers is coming in a 10th up.
Is that Uncle John?
It could be Uncle
brothers?
John. They are brothers, I believe.
Uncle John.
So doesn't improve this lap, but he's still got some time. Bruno Gallo is coming in. Or if he's gotten the power down a little bit earlier, about 3/10 gain. This will get him very close to pole, but not quite there. That'll be P3. Blair's already in a invalid lap, I knew that. So who else is on a gain? Ashland Reynolds. He's actually just behind him. Again, Melbourne hairpin. Loses out a little bit, getting the power down. So tricky to get it down early enough.
Yeah, that's the problem with that hairpin.
He's gone
It
deep.
goes very wide. Oh, he's going to
back?
come in for the bad exit. No.
This will set him up for a better next
exit.
lap.
Yeah, so the thing with that hairpin is that it's actually it's based on the car. As stupid as that sounds, if you're in the wrong car, you're not going to gain time there. So as you saw, the Porsche is unbelievable out of there. It just doesn't bog, unlike other cars. I think the BMW probably bogs as well. Aston's the same. So look, we're probably not expecting to see the best hairpin from Reynolds, just due to the Nissan, but still, he's a quick driver. I'm expecting him to climb up the ranks a little bit more.
It'll be the difference as well, because I would have thought the Nissan handles the S's pretty well. As we see Blair, that's Blair ahead, go off, so he is done. P6 is the best he'll be able to hope for here. We'll see at some point during the night the Porsche try and take this chicane. There's a lot dicier. And I think what this Nissan is going to have to deal with. Doesn't really mind. You can still see he lost a 10th, which means that previously he's gone a 10th quicker coming through that chicane. And that was a pretty ballsy cut.
I just couldn't get the exit. Loses hundredths or so, whether maybe he's realised he needs to go for that tighter entry. Does he realise? Oh, he does. You see, there's a 10th. Didn't quite get the exit he wanted, so that's going to lose him a lot of time. Gets him up that one, though, right in front of Mullock. Kitching. Oh, so close.
So who's still out there? Steve Lewis is still out there. He's just coming in to close in his lap. A little bit of a gain. He'd need 3/10 if he wants another position. So this... Well, okay, hang on.
Whoa, all right.
Who's who's coming?
Oh, it was there. It was close. Just needed that extra tenth.
So who else is still out? Honor is going to be the last on track. Let's follow him through to the end. He's currently in P7. Needs a half second. But even a 10th is a position. A little bit narrow entrance into that. Maybe favours the tighter line. A bit better for the McLaren.
Exit on the hairpin just loses you so much time. Maybe he can get a more inside line out of here, gain a bit of time like he did before.
There's a
does. It is in one position.
Oh, it's almost.
Oh, it didn't get
quite.
it. Oh.
Not quite. That is 18 thousandths of a second.
And that is a tight grid.
That's probably the tightest qualifying I've ever seen in the OOR Sprint Series.
Yeah, outstanding.
So if qualifying is anything to go by, this is going to be exciting.
So there you see the grid up on the left. McCourt alongside Kitching on the front row. There is not much at all between them. Britt and Gallo, a couple of yellow Ferraris side by side. Lamb, highest of the Pro-Ams in P5 in the Aston. Who's currently missing from the grid? Is that Reynolds, who hasn't readied up? No.
I think it might be Ferguson.
Ferguson. So he needs to hit drive. No,
I believe his car should already be on the grid.
He must have disconnected, possibly, I'd say.
Oh, that could have been, and he's reconnected now. And he's... Oh, that's unfortunate.
So that works in the favour of none other than Neil Alexander.
Oh, conspiracy, you decide. And while we have a short break, Matthew S. in the chat, congratulations as well on it was the first 6-week ultrasound, so that's exciting times.
Let's go, Marty.
Very nice. Yeah, so I didn't race this track last night.
Why?
Well, there's a 24-hour on this weekend. I've never driven Donington before, and I kind of figured that I'd be a little bit more of a danger than a fellow racer on track, so I decided to skip it. I also don't own the track. That wasn't anything to hold back. Grass. I'm also seeing a lot of spots on track where it's only grass runoff and the wall isn't too far away. Just on the left there, even if you run wide there, it seems like it'd be very hard to keep it out of the wall. So I think I may have dodged a bullet here.
So I'll say, I think this is an outstanding track. You tend to actually, as soon as your outside rear tyre goes onto the grass, it spits you out in the other direction. But you find it very fast. And the grass is very slick here. Some of the tracks on ACC, I feel like the grass is kind of not much. Here it's actually, and maybe I just don't spend enough time on the grass.
Who's forgotten to hit drive? Who is it?
186, I can see. That's Jaco Boats, but I think he's actually a late connected. Because we only had 30 cars, including the safety car, and now we have 31. I think.
Right.
I'm not entirely certain. 2 people are in the pit. No, I genuinely think this is an outstanding. So there you can see the tyre ball is in play. I don't know how much damage it does to your car when you hit it, but it can be moved.
Well, yeah, in saying that, I did have a little bit of a fun session with a couple of the guys on our Automobilista 2. And this was one of the tracks that we went on without these 2 hairpins. And yeah, it was quite fun to drive. But yeah, to get up to speed with all the guys in split yellow, I was absolutely dreaming. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to round to the last hairpin. And who's going to take this race start?
This is you, mate.
This is me.
I feel it in my bones. This is Space Dog Special.
I'll try and call a track that I don't know. Leading the way, McCourt, Kitching, very tight qualifying, so I expect there's going to be a lot of battling for position at the start of this race as we are about to go green. And we are away. Looks like McCourt got quite a good launch. Kitching will not be able to make a dive. As we see Britt making a dive on the inside, taking P2. We've still got some cars side by side. We've seen Blair go off wide into the track. We've gone through. We have contact, middle of the field. That is a Bentley way out into the distance. I believe, was that the Bentley of...
I think
not
it
too
might have
sure
been.
who that was.
It's not Robert Shaw. I can't tell because the order's all being shuffled up as I try and grab the camera. So we're going to have to imagine or discover later. Other than that, looks like no major issues. A little bit of bumping, a little bit of uncertainty. Tyres still coming up to 10. Very short track, so that formation lap doesn't give you a huge amount of time to get the pressures in. And the track is actually really, really brutal if you're not familiar with how quickly that front left picks up pressure based on track temperature. We're going to see some drivers who are going to get caught out, I think, by some very big spikes there, but we will see. Also, drivers need to be aware this first lap, if those rears are a little bit under pressure, then you could cut and puncture those tyres. Ask me how I know.
How do you know? I'll do it.
Because I did it. And then
tap,
and we see. So who is that? That is Phillips and Blair, I think, and that is that's going to be a safety car.
That is a big track blockage.
Let's go back here. So this is Phillips in the Honda, is in the center screen. We've got Blair is in the Ferrari ahead. These will be the two that tangle. Oh, Phillips. He eyed a bit of an inside, ran a tiny bit wide. Blair gave him.
It seemed like may have been cold tyres, I suppose. A bit of understeer going into that corner. It looked like he had every intention of keeping that tight line and not making contact at all. But yeah, cold tyres started the race. We've seen some drama in real life with that same kind of thing in the past, in the last week.
The safety car's not coming out.
No safety. So if everyone got themselves sorted out pretty quickly, then it's maybe not too bad. It is a long race.
It's come
now
up on your
slow.
graphic now. Now it's safety car. Okay.
Yeah, I dare say that's not the optimal line down the straight.
I was going to say.
Safety car might be out a little bit, so we are in a safety car moment. Already in the chat, people saying it's Hamilton's fault. What I will suggest, this is what I'm going to put forward that happened, and we'll see. I'm going to get, because I do actually want something like this. Maybe this, probably this. As we come into there, it's a tricky braking zone because the corner's unsighted from the hill, so you have to know where you're braking. Very easy to brake just a touch too late, have a different braking point. So I wonder if the Honda has just outbraked himself. He's got nowhere to go other than up the inside, and then also hasn't pulled it up quite enough, so he's not taking as tight a line as he could. And that way,
it's a good point. I think that's a good point. Yeah, it's probably not good to be pointing fingers saying, "Oh, that they screwed up and went for a dive," because you don't know what the actual situation was. That's for the stewards to look at and decide what the issue was.
I think we are
being told it's a virtual safety car.
Yeah, I dare say that may have just been a virtual safety car.
I think that's a good call as well. So that's nice and brief. Gets everyone sorted out pretty well. You can see the packs all nicely bunched up, so we can move on. And Phillips did teleport to pits as well, so I think good heads-up play that it wasn't really viable for him to get the car spun around without causing more dramas, so just gets out of the way. It'll cost him a fair bit, but it is what you have to do in that situation, so smart work there. So, as we now come into Sector 2, there's only 2 sectors in this one, in lap 3. The court does have a reasonable lead from Britt, but he's not able to dash away just yet. There is a bit of a gap from P5 to 6, so Honor a little bit further behind from Gallo. But we will see scraps start to finish in this race, I predict. Up and down the field. It's all over. Mullock up 4 places. It's the call from Fowler. I think it's only 2. I'm pretty sure he started, 3 if you count the fact that he got a freebie from someone disconnecting, because I think he qualified in P11.
Yeah, I also think 2 of those spots were from the incident that we had just seen in the last corner. Possibly only 1. Maybe it was a bit of shuffle when the cars were trying to squeeze their way through there.
I will say what the Helicam here doesn't really do justice is the elevation change in this track. There is a lot of up and down. Again, everyone who's raced this knows. It's almost not quite to the same extreme where in Spa, where Rouge Radion, it's significantly steeper than what you think it is. But it is actually a very hilly track. And so all of these zones, and we do kind of need to go into the kind of cockpit views. Here we get a nice flat section, and in fact, I've talked about hilliness, and now we're going to get into the flattest part of the track. But even this, kind of a drop down into a braking zone, you're braking on a downhill, pulling the car in, cutting both of those corners, and you can see the Mercedes just doesn't care. But then, again, downhill braking zone into a hairpin, disgusting. Very, very tricky to get right repeatedly. So you come over a hill and then you crest down into another hairpin. So I think track designers may have been masochists, but it does make it a very difficult, very technical, and very enjoyable track when you get it right.
Well, I mean, the circuit was built in, I think it was early 1900, it was 1904 if I'm not mistaken. So what kind of equipment do you think they would have had to level out the land? Probably not a whole lot. A couple of shovels and wheelbarrows.
That's fair. They could put the hairpins in different spots, but I guess, back then they're probably braking well before the downhill. Whereas in these cars, yeah, you're into the slopes. And then this uphill. And then it flattens as you're going through the corner. And then drops into a downhill here. Brutal. Again, uphill, unsighted right-hander. Cut the corner. And then at least flat, but it drops off, but you've usually got the car the rear end reasonably stable by the time you hit this point. Oh, I love it. I love this track.
You sound like you're calling an auction, Jamie, rather than calling a race.
Okay, all right. Let's find some scraps. What do you reckon? Is this Bruno Gallo chasing on Lamb? This the one to watch? This is for top
think
5.
it's kitching on Brit, actually, to watch.
I'm looking
Just
at
not
Reynolds
go ahead.
on Mullock. It's half a tenth between them since the last Delta pickup.
Oh, that is...
They are close.
This is a good cockpit cam.
But we know this is Mullock's chance to a little bit of a gap through these hairpins. We saw that Reynolds was struggling a bit in these hairpins due to the way this car handles, but he's kept it pretty well. He's kept on the back of Mullock. He's going to keep the pressure on.
We'll go for a dive. No, just holds back. Might just wait for Mullock to make that mistake. It is very easy to make a mistake around here, and it will lose you a lot of time. So Reynolds just needs to be patient, even though it will hold him up and push him back into Van Vliet.
There it is.
Oh,
Mullock
there it
gets a little
is.
bit of oversteer.
Oh, no, hits
It
Reynolds.
has resulted into contact.
Reynolds keeps
That
it out
is
of the wall.
extremely unfortunate.
Let's go back and have a look. It looks like Mullock's kept it out of the wall as well. You can kind of see this coming. Mullock's too far to the right. You want to get your car further over to the left coming into this corner. He's tried to carry
Just
too
lost
much
on the
speed.
rear. Oh, gone.
Yeah, and then he's just tried to catch the car, and he's just had that snap back to the left, and unfortunately there was a car there.
It's a tough one. All the while when you were talking about it, I was in my head, it feels like this is, as you said, very difficult, very easy to make a mistake. Very easy. Well, one of the ways to really push this is to try and force the driver ahead to make that mistake. And I think that pressure has paid off to an extent.
And you know what? The commentator curse on Mullock feels so good. It is so good to be back.
You know,
He
it's
does it
really
to everyone. Reap what you sow, son.
I know, it's that I literally was saying to a mate earlier, oh, Mullet's coming back tonight. Hope I don't have to commentators curse him again like I did when he last raced. Well, oops. That didn't go well.
A little bit of a whoops-a-days.
Yeah, look, it was. If Mullet doesn't find out, we're fine.
But it is... Look, it's a point, I think, for Reynolds. Is he was applying the pressure. He did force the mistake. Because I think if Mullet had have been able to hold the car, he would have been at a severe disadvantage speed-wise coming up to the hill, because into, what's this, the old hairpin. Oh,
As we just see
sorry.
McNulty,
For fuck's sake.
almost a carbon copy.
I didn't even see what happened when I was looking away.
What?
Just the same kind of thing, carrying a little bit too much speed into the corner. He's
Did
just
he
lost the
take
car
too much
really early.
curb? Oh, what the hell?
That's really unusual, actually.
Dude,
Well, he's done well to keep the car pointing in a semi-decent direction, and
he's
it's not
back
too
in
far off the black
23rd
stuff.
Now, though. Oh, no, that's...
I don't know if that's a setup issue. You shouldn't be losing the rear there.
Could be a setup issue. Might not have enough wing or too stiff anti-roll bar, possibly, but...
pretty much everyone just masses out their rear wing here because this is such a short track. You never touch 6th gear. You might touch 5th. Maybe the car, just maybe as well on relatively high fuel. Well, it's a mid-tank of fuel, much higher than qualifying. It's just a little bit touchier. Yeah, unusual. So we'll lose it there. Either way, we go on. So we're 2 commentators' curses down.
On 2 fellow commentators as well.
Yeah, I know.
Who's next?
Is there any other
Jamie, who are you cursing?
I'm not too sure there is any other commentators. There's Uncle John. He's close.
Oh,
Commentator. Uncle of a commentator. I mean, brother, sorry.
Whoa,
not sure if that counts.
Sorry, the future commentator, sorry.
Yeah.
Uncle of a future commentator. Get him in early.
That's the key. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens when we get to the next split and the average age. That's a story for a little bit later on. Kitching manages to get himself a little bit of a gap coming out of Coppers, but I wonder if he loses that gap because that chicane cut's got to be really...
Oh, hold on, Lamb. Oh, he's going to go for it, surely. He has to. He does. Can he pull it up? He does. Oh, now Gallo nearly wants a taste of the back of Brit's Ferrari.
Yeah, Gallo is on an absolute charge. He did close that gap very quickly before that exchange happened. So Gallo is one to watch here as we just see Brit run a little bit wide. He just a little too hot on the brakes and couldn't get the car pulled up. So he's running out into the grass and he has lost that spot to Gallo. So Gallo has been set free to try and charge onto Lamb.
I feel like that was a case of you want to attack but you need to defend. I feel like Brit coming into the Melbourne hairpin just needed to take the inside line and defend it and do it early. But instead, I think his eyes were still ahead. He wanted the position of Kitching. He wanted to close that gap back up to Kitching. But he'll set himself back up. And I think you saw it as well when it got into Goddard. He was just pushing a little bit too hard. But he'll take some time, resettle, and I think he'll close that gap back up and be back on the back of Lamb in no time.
If you say that and someone bins it, I swear.
Oh, you'll notice I tactfully moved the camera away.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think this is an interesting one. So, Bubnow, Sassana, Robert Shaw, McLaren, Porsche, and Aston. Very, very different. I feel like the Porsche through the chicane cut is going to be a scary moment every time.
Oh, it's a bit scary, but unfortunately, the Porsche is a bit, what do we call it? I don't know, fast here. It's one of the more OP cars behind. I think the quickest one here from memory is the Merc. So, in comparison to like the Aston and the McLaren, it's definitely going to probably make light work of Bub now. And obviously, he's gotten past Robert Shaw, and they've got Van Vliet up ahead as well. So I'm sure Sassana will make his way up to him.
Yeah, look, the Merc may be very quick here, but unfortunately, from what we've seen, the rear is a little bit quicker on the Merc than the front of the car.
Well, is it the car or the operator, though?
It's a good point, though. And Princey pointed it out in chat. It could just be tyres and tyre pressure. So I found that this was a really unusual track in terms of tyre pressures. Whoa, as we see, Porsche finds a little bit of extra road. I actually kind of want to...
Yeah, was that a fantastic overtake? Was that unfair advantage? I think that's play on.
I think it's play on. I'm just not sure how he managed it. Ah, right.
Yeah, I lost the rear. Yeah.
Yeah, he ran out a little bit of track space, but he made use of the right side of the car. Still had a bit of grip there.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's play on. Mistake from the driver ahead. You can capitalise on that if you can do it safely.
I think that's on the line of play on. If he'd have just hit a bit more grass, I'm not sure whether that was invalid or not, but he's kept it. And now Bubnow's fallen into the wrath of Robert Shaw. See whether he can get the overtake done. As we see, there's someone in the background battling. Who's that? Is that Keen on green or something? Oh, it's an Audi going wide is what it is.
Also, Bentley taking the tightest line I've ever seen through that hairpin.
Yep.
Staying very inside at lockdown hairpin.
So that was Villanueva trying to take the position from Wood. And he won't get it this time. I did want to say, though, as well, props to Bub now. So he did get the car settled and then quickly tried to close off that inside line, but then didn't push it too far, which would have been a big issue. So, you know, he's done the right racing kind of thing of, I've got the car settled, I need to try and defend against the attack, realises it's too late, doesn't squeeze it too much, and we're okay. I can see car 186 has had an off, that's Jacob Boats. It's a little bit sideways there, so we might watch his misery as he gets it going again. I feel like Villanueva is he's going to be squaring this up, looking for his next chance. See the Audi just wobbling away. That would have to be a scary moment for you, Hobbsy, wouldn't it? As you come over that hill, the car starts threatening to over-rotate on you.
Oh, it's always scary coming over that double right-hander in the Audi, at least. It just wants to let go, but if you can manage to throttle and just get the right turn in, you are okay, but being consistent on that is it's not easy.
It runs a bit deep. As long as he gets the power out, he'll be okay. Now, I've only done this in the BMW, which didn't really mind so much.
There's a big winner at the head of this little gaggle here, being Ryan Green in P13. Someone in chat earlier said that they were up 10 spots. I had a look, they were sitting in P15. He's now sitting P13, so that's up 12 spots since the start of the race, which is a phenomenal effort. We're only, what, 17 minutes into this race, so that's a lot of positions.
He's done well, and he's got some clear air as well. So what kind of lap time? So last lap was 1:29.5. That's actually a touch behind some of the drivers ahead of him, but I think his best lap is 1:28.8. Very respectable for this kind of racing situation. I wonder if he's been a big winner in that incident though, because some of these guys, Villanova, Ferguson, 1:27s are their best lap times.
Well, I mean, you can't justify 12 spots by an incident. Like, there's absolutely some on-track overtaking that's been going on. There's a lot of organic positions made up there. So, whether he's capitalised on a couple of positions in the incident or not, it's still a stellar effort.
Yeah, it's a good point. No, I don't want to take anything away from him. I picked up that I kind of was inadvertently. So, big word.
You're an arsehole, Jamie.
Sometimes.
What have you done recently?
There's a battle brewing, I think, eventually. P21 V23. If that comes, I'll tell you what, we can have eyes on that. I think those Mercedes of Alexander McDulty is struggling a tiny bit with setups. Seems to be the word.
Yeah, Zachary James is currently the meat of that sandwich at the moment. It's a big sandwich, very wide sandwich. Still, he's making his way through the pack, and yeah, those Mercedes only falling further back, unfortunately.
A thick sandwich, I think the kids say these days. I don't really know. Interestingly, McCourt has started to skip away a little bit, so he's got himself 3.5 second gap to Kitching. Kitching probably having to defend a little bit against Lamb. It's robbing him of a touch of time, although their last laps were pretty much identical, a couple of hundredths separating. We'll see how this continues to build, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to eat my words. I thought for sure Gallo was the one on the charge here, and I thought Gallo was going to get on the back of Lamb, put pressure on, possibly take the position, but no, it's Lamb. Lamb is the one that is still on a charge, fighting for that P2 position. And as we've seen in the previous weeks, Kitching ain't no slouch. Kitching is very, very quick, so Lamb in his element right now.
He's doing a great job. I'm going to have a look on the old people and see how that is drifting. They appear to be, over the last few laps, staying within about a second of each other. Brits has fallen off, but I think that's a result of, and he's kind of lost a bit of pace ever since he had that moment where he lost a couple of positions, and that gap has started to open up ever since. these other boys, Kitching and Lamb, are bang on for same lap time, so the gap's not really changing. Gallo looks like it's a little bit more fluctuation, so sometimes he's got it and sometimes he doesn't. We can see in this lap he's down a second and a half off Lamb, but I think he'll just close it back up. They're kind of ebbing and flowing, and they're not scrapping. And as we saw in quali, there's almost no difference between, you know, the top 10. Very hard to separate.
Yeah, it's very hard to judge who is actually the strongest out there over the race pace, because qualifying is your one lap pace, but it's I suppose it comes down to who can be the most consistent throughout the race. We are seeing the first of the pitters being Neil Alexander, Robert Shaw, Pignata has come in. Ferguson pitted very early after that incident, and Boats was also pitted very early. Phillips also pitted extremely early after the incident at the start of the race on lap 1. Yeah, strategies are starting to fall into place, so we'll start to keep an eye on who is where, who they're fighting, and where everyone starts to come out from the pits.
Yeah, and as we see there, Phillips has picked up a 30-second penalty. I think stewards have probably rightly determined that he was the cause of that incident. He really shouldn't have been where he was. And I think he knows that.
I mean, I suspect not all 30 seconds of that was from the one incident, because that is a big penalty.
I have a feeling it could be
possible.
speeding pit lane.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly.
You might be right. You might be right. We will see. Cam usually messages me and lets me know things that I've gotten wrong. Not just in my life, just to do with racing.
Just sends you a message saying everything.
Yeah, I mean, what's family for if not for reminding of you all your faults in life? I love my family. Anyway, moving on. So see, the Lamborghini, even the Lamborghini can take that cut reasonably comfortably. And that is usually a twitchy cut. So, ironically, I found it got easier the more you cut it. Just because I think the way the curves flow. Sharon Scott saying everyone needs a cam in their life telling them what they're doing wrong. Oh, Jeffries, I tell you what. I know what was about to happen if he didn't get that under control.
Dead.
Well, I'm just saying that if you find yourself 90 degrees on track at the
That's
pit
not
entry,
advised.
yeah, at the pit entry between two walls, you're not in a good spot. I have a feeling that if that were to happen, you would not be happy with the situation. Especially given that you can't turn your car around, you have to teleport to pits. Would not be a fun feeling if that was to happen to anyone. But it hasn't. So we're okay, right?
Not yet, at least.
Not tonight, it hasn't.
You
Was
are
that Aston up ahead,
nice.
having a little bit of a look? Might be blue flag situations.
I think it is.
Could be.
Because I saw a Jag involved, so that's
Yeah,
Pignata
it is.
does have to let people through. Now, that's because he's completed his pit stop, but that is the risk you take when you do an early pit stop. You may well come back into traffic. It's a relatively small track. That's exactly what's happened. Pignata now has to settle in behind. Or I'm just completely deranged and actually know he is battling with Robert Shaw. That is for position.
Oh, he is. It is for position. And now he's going to get blue flagged by someone.
Yes. Who is that? It's a bit harder to tell. I think that's
Honor.
Honor.
And Sneaker's fighting for position.
Oh,
There's a lot of position fighting.
it is indeed. What do you do if you're stuck in there? Robert Shaw has managed to get himself a mighty gap while that's happened. And Pignata's had to let those drivers through. He'll also have to let them through, but look at how big that gap's become.
Very.
Uncle John really good at closing up that gap on brakes with that McLaren. McLaren obviously one of those cars where you need to brake a little bit earlier than you'd usually be used to.
Yeah, that's right. It's from memory. It's you did. I think the McLaren is one of those ones that's on par with one of the worst braking cars. I think the Merc is probably the only one that probably outdoes it, maybe. Other than that, the rest of the cars are pretty on par for decent brakes.
It's a tricky one. I'll tell you what is nervous. You'll notice everyone coming into turn one, everyone does it. They're putting their car half into the pit exit lane. You need to make sure
wider entry.
Yeah.
I was watching that. It's very similar to Paul Ricard as well. Paul Ricard can be extremely dangerous in that aspect.
Yeah, this is...
But yeah, you really need to keep your eyes fixed on that pit exit if you are going to be taking that kind of line, especially at this point in the race as we reach the halfway point, which becomes the optimal time for people to be pitting to get maximum use out of their tyres.
I think the thing that may actually catch some of the drivers out, it certainly caught me out, even though I did it about 5 times. I probably should have learned by maybe the second, third, fourth attempt, is that if there is a car coming out and you do need to compromise your line, you need to brake a bit earlier, mate. It's the message that would be going through my head as I entered the grass. See here, Sinakis might have a run, and that run.
So Honda's in the pits.
Honda's in the pits. He's going to go for an undercut. I think that's a good shout, especially around here. This is probably around the time you want to pit because those tyres will go off. The tyres are really hard to manage around here just because of how tight and intense the whole track is. So I think that's a good call from Honda. See where he comes out in terms of Sinakis. Sinakis might pit this lap to try and respond or maybe give it another lap or two as Honda will still be on the cold tyres.
Yeah, Gallo in the pits as well. So we were seeing Gallo just behind Lamb in that battle between Kitching, Lamb and himself as Gallo's exiting the pit. So we'll keep an eye on where Kitching and Lamb come out after they finish their pit cycle.
Where'd Honda? Okay, Honda disappeared in the review cam. He's still there. It's all good. So let's see where he slots in. And that is in behind I suspect, blue flag Jag. No, a Jag that hasn't pit yet. So Gallo wants to get past that real quick.
Yep, so that'll be Zachary James in the 57.
Yes. However, Zachary James does have right of way. He is. No, they'll be on the same lap, I suspect. I can tell if I go this way, and then I have to switch one of these over, but I can't find the button for it, so I'm going to ignore that. I suspect that they're on the same lap.
Jamie Saxon here to commentate a race and his own actions.
It's the double threat. There we go. Gallo is finding a way. His tyres will still be coming up to pressure as well. James not interested in giving this up. Doesn't.
Well,
mind.
he doesn't have to. It is for position. They are on the same lap. So go side by side through the S's. I wouldn't expect that to be an ideal place to be going side by side, but they've made it work. Gallo's had to fall back in behind. He will have another look on the inside coming into the renamed lockdown hairpin, and he has made it happen, and he has taken the position of Zachary James.
I mean, right on Zach James. He doesn't have to compromise his lap time.
No, that's correct. Even though he does need to pit, he does not have to compromise his lap. As weird and odd as that is, he does not have to give up lap time just because he's got someone fighting for position that has pitted.
Well, as the professionals like to say in the industry, them's the rules.
Correct. Dem's the rules. That's right.
It's from the back of Ryan Green here. Having a look at Villanova. This also gives you a really interesting view of the elevation changes as well, from a slightly different perspective. So they'll be coming into this chicane. Wasn't too much of a cut by the looks of things that time. So we'll compromise him a tiny bit on time. You can tell he's gone to the inside, he's just defending that line. He's not going to let Villanova catch him that way. But we'll close the gap up. Both these boys still need to pit. We can see Van Vliet has pitted in from P6, so he'll slot back in somewhere along the order. There we go. Villanova into the pits. I thought one of those two might do so. And that has indeed occurred. Let's have a look a bit further down the order because Jeffries is on the back of Pignata. And we've got Alexander behind a fair gap. I feel like it's really, as I've said a number of times, I'll continue to say it, very technical track, which means that hitting your lap times, and Hobbsy, I think you pointed out right at the start, hitting your marks lap after lap after lap is what makes this track so challenging. You can get a very quick lap, and indeed I think I did a single hot lap in qualifying that was valid, which doesn't bode well for the race, but you've got to do it every lap, and if you don't, the consequences are pretty significant. Very easy to run off into the grass and lose a big whack of time, if not damage along the way.
Just looking for that position, Jeffries, at the moment. Pignata's really holding him up. Loses the rear on that Jag. Jeffries looks to the inside. Oh, has to give him the room. There could be a potential tap here. And I was right. Oh,
there it is. It's almost inevitable. It's a very tight track. There is not a lot of space. There is space to leave the cars with, but when you're traveling through fast left after right-handers, it's hard to keep it consistent.
Yeah, let's get another view. So we've seen the helicam view. We kind of saw it coming. We thought it might be. They're alongside, and neither of them want to yield. I mean, it's a classic. Neither of them want to yield.
Oh, I think that actually, just going based off the rules, that's probably a pen to Pignata. Had to give out there just due to not quite having his nose in there. So I think we may see a penalty.
It's a tricky one. I feel like
it is.
At that point, Jeffries was in front and theoretically dictated the line.
It's pretty much just a Verstappen-Hamilton incident.
The parallels are all there. I will say, I really don't want to get into that because there's so many different opinions.
Let's not. But
so many different opinions that it will start an argument. I don't think there is an argument about it. What happened, deal with it. That's racing.
Yeah,
move on.
I think the only real interesting story I read, or someone showed me today, is that apparently Helmut Marko has hired a lawyer because of that accident.
Yeah, I've heard about that. It seems like he's getting fired up.
Yeah.
Well, in some of the chats, and you boys would have both seen it, Helmut Marko earlier in the weekend had said that Lewis Hamilton was responsible for Alex Albon leading F1. I'm not sure how Helmut Marko isn't a significantly larger factor himself in that, but he's a special man with special views on the world, and that's okay. We embrace all times. What I will say on the incident that we did see is I wonder, because I don't think that the Jag could have been any further to the left. Now, he arguably shouldn't have been in the corner, and that's, I think, what the stewards will be tossing up. But he was about as tight as he can without severely risking a much bigger incident. And the Lambo could have been a little bit further off to the side. Does he have to be? Is, I think, that question that the stewards will be debating, and they'll look at it a lot more than we have and make the right call. But I feel like that's the question in my mind.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see what the stewards have to say. For the moment, Kitching on the back of Lamb now. Excuse me.
Yeah, so
who's 10
Lamb
seconds
has
off the court.
So Lamb has made that position throughout the pit cycle there. Gallo still holds his position, proverbially, once we've seen the rest of the drivers pit. But yeah, Lamb up very high at the moment, just waiting for Britt to pit and see where he pops out.
Yeah, McCourt opens up an even bigger window, so he's 9.8 seconds clear of Lamb. So Britt will be the question, but it feels like McCourt might have a half foot on the podium already, but there is 25 minutes plus a lap left to go in that one. But yeah, this one is back on with a vengeance.
Oh, that is a tight battle. I think Gallo, if he was smart, I'm not saying he's not smart, but I think the idea here might be just to wait for Kitching to get up with Lamb and maybe wait for that mistake, but maybe he might just try and get past Kitching and make his way up to Lamb. That would be the ideal scenario, getting past in just one corner, but it's Donington, so that's unlikely.
Yeah, this one here, turn 4, the old hairpin, I feel like is one of the opportunities. If the car ahead can't get himself far enough to the left, because through the Craner curves, which is that downhill sweeping left, very easy to run too far wide and make it harder to get yourself an opener turn 4. And then if you don't, you can be attacked up through the next section. So that's what I've been looking out for, and we've seen it a couple of times. That's where Mullock came to grief, trying to have best of both worlds. Unfortunately, the car didn't want to quite comply. You can see Gallo just goes a little bit onto the grass. You can get away with it a touch there. Just looking on the inside, just a half look, knows that that's not really on.
So Britt is in the pits at the moment, so we're going to see where Britt cycles out, but I dare say that this gaggle that we're on board with will be getting ahead.
He should be about to move.
What get past?
Yeah, he's passed with ease.
So
But
where's he
the
going to
question
slot
is
in?
now,
Around
so
Honor?
there they are. Oh,
Just behind Gallo.
behind Gallo. Whether he can make up that time, I think he can. They're not too far in front, but Britt is on the colder tyres. So he's going to have to get them really warm, really quickly. Honor's a fair way behind. He just needs to play his own race, drive his own race, I'll find the words, and just maybe wait for a mistake from Kitching or Gallo, because Gallo is definitely pushing at the moment to get past Kitching for the podium position.
Yeah, you can see Britt will at least have the liberty of coming out of the pits on cold tyres, but he can warm them out without immediately being attacked for his position. So that'll work out alright for him. And it may pay dividends later in the race. He'll be closing out with much fresher tyres than these guys. So when the fuel load gets light and you can really start to fling the car around, he'll have a lot more grip.
Yeah, speaking of people who like to pit early, McNulty likes to pit... pit late. McNulty likes to pit very, very late. He's confessed to me that he likes to pit late because he gets more air time because he's further up the pack at that point, which I'm not too sure is as true as he thinks it is. I feel like he's going to pit so late that his tyres will not even be up to temperature by the time he finishes the race.
It's possible. Well, we're going to have a look at him, but I mean, we all have to face this. Would you risk getting commentators cursed more?
No way.
No.
I think we as commentators know that's not a good idea.
This man is a fool.
He is. Well, except obviously he's the one commentator that's the exception. Surely he pits now. Well, he can't now that Sasana's going to go past, but...
I was going to say, you wouldn't be too happy if you were Phillips and Sasana because you're kind of being held up by McNulty, who is the last of the late pitters, as they like to call him.
See, they both just compromised themselves a little bit there as well because they weren't taking that wider line, crossing over the pit exit line and slug it round. But there you go. He's got himself a bit more airtime, but he's composing himself fairly well. Takes a bit of grass there, but it's not too bad on that corner. Maybe he's just got the car in a nice groove. He's feeling comfortable.
Moritz Wagner also saying last of the late pitters in chat. I don't know if I said that before or after, but I'm going to go ahead and say that that's a great minds think alike. I feel like we've said that at the same time.
Well, he has commented that, yes, Bender is going for that airtime. And he's getting it, his moment. But we're going to kick back up to this front end. Or actually, let's have a look at Steve Lewis or Matt Keane. Now, this is getting quite tight, indeed.
Oh, Keane. Gone. Ooh,
No,
he
he's
held
held
it.
it.
That was well played.
He has lost a position, but he's kept his car facing forward, and that is the main thing. So that kicked off quicker than what I expected it to when I jumped over. Steve Lewis does grab the position. So I wonder if that's a kind of a build-up of pressure because he has been on the back of him for a while. He's just forced a little bit of a mistake. And there's, let's have a look as well. Oh, I've got Robert Shaw on the back of Mitchell. And Aston v McLaren. So home race for both of them. Well, at least home country, I suppose. We did Silverstone this season. I suppose that's a closer one for Aston. gets a little bit loose there. He wasn't able to carry as much speed as he'd like. It was Robert Shaw. Had to really narrow the corner to get the car under control. So we'll open up the gap a tiny bit. Mitchell just clipping the dirt on turn 4, and he's lost a lot of pace somehow. What has happened there? No, okay, that's a completely different car. That's a blue flagged McLaren that had slowed right down. We're all good. These guys all close back up. I am keeping a half eye on the timings ahead, and you can see Britt.
Oh, what a run!
Actually falling back. Yeah, Robert Shaw got a great cut. Mitchell a lot more conservative. He's going to have a go under brakes.
Oh, that's a big dive. Can he hold it? Oh, he's just pulled it up. That was a dive and a half.
That's a successful send if I ever did see one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitchell might feel that was a little bit dirty, but it was done. And we race on. He'll have his chance later on. But, I mean, the door was wide open. I think Mitchell had to have known that was a half possibility given the gap, that he might go for the inside. He could have closed it off. He didn't. And to be fair, Robert Shaw got the car turned around, didn't run too wide on the corner, and made it stick. Jump back ahead. So now all said and done, McCourt is still about 9 seconds ahead of Lamb. That was about where they were when they pitted in. So he just needs to manage that for the next 18 minutes plus minus. And Britt, not quite catching the pace back up that he'd like. They're all lapping within about a tenth of each other, as they have been for about the last 40 minutes. Which I think is real props to all of them, especially Lamb. In the Pro-Am category, showing that his rating might need to be upgraded shortly.
Yeah, if he keeps this up, then it will be a bit of a class upgrade, I believe.
Oh, and it's pointed out by Matthew S. When Robert Shaw did get past that very slow McLaren, that was Bub now. That was not a blue flagged car. He did take a position off that, so... Yeah, I probably should have... I wish I could go back in time and grab that, but... Well, I mean, I could. I could open up the replay.
Well, but
It's too hard to find at this point. We're sticking
can't
with this.
be bothered. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'd probably miss something else along the way, because this scrap... I think will start to pick up in
Bender
tempo.
pitting? I'm sorry, when's he pitting? Come on, Bender, what are you doing, David?
Oh, he's just giving me the poos now.
I know.
And now he's driving like it's a blue flag situation. Just go into the pits and get some good laps in, mate. You're losing positions at this point, Bender. Jeez Louise.
Maybe he's got the timing just right. He knows that if he pits right about now, he can battle with Neil.
Oh, well, that's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard.
He's not doing that maths. He's just being annoying to get some airtime.
Exactly.
No, it's working for him on occasion.
And
Even
you'll come
bad
out
publicity
way in
is
front of
good
Mullock
publicity.
Anyway. Yeah.
That's true, that's true. So you can see these cars ahead, just really positioning very, very tidily. Make sure you get hard over to the left, open the corner up. Carry as much speed as you can up the hill. So of course it's an uphill as well, right? You need to carry the extra speed because it's so much harder to grab it. Fighting gravity a bit more than normal.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that to me, that corner there...
Oh, he's in the pits. Yes.
Yeah, get out of here.
That kind of corner segment there, so 7 into 8, I found very, very tricky. Very easy to get the rear loose. Very easy to run wide, touch the grass, send yourself into oblivion. Straight to pits, thank you very much.
His Kitching is really not letting that second step on the podium go. He's putting the pressure on really hard to Lamb. But I must say, Lamb is dealing with the pressure really well. I think it's going to be a scrap to the end with these two, barring any mistakes.
Yeah, if Kitchen can just hold on the back, I reckon he can get past Lamb, but he's just got to play the patient game. Maybe wait for a mistake from Lamb, or maybe try and put his nose out and just put that bit of pressure on him, say, hi, I'm here, and maybe he might just go too deep or too wide.
Yeah, it's a good time to be playing that patient game where you just stick your nose into the mirrors here and there to try and force that mistake, but that time is crunching down 1 second at a time. It's crunching down at light speed. I believe.
No. Oh!
That was a bit of a code brown moment for all drivers involved.
Brown flag. Gee, that's exactly what Kitching needed, though. Who was that?
I'm glad none of those drivers decided to keep sending it and hope for the best.
I need to see. Oh, that is definitely it. I think Lamb's going to need a clean pair of underwear after that one.
Oh,
gee.
So did get a good side on shot. That was Zach James, who's just lost the car. Fortunately, nothing's gone awry there, but it closed the gap up. It gave us a moment of excitement, I guess.
We had quite a similar moment at the Paul Ricard 8 hour that we had last week on some of the closing laps. I think we were in the closing 15 minutes of that race as well. As we just see Mullock run a little bit wide, run to the grass, rejoins the track. Play on. But yeah, it was two front runners. Two front runners were having a little bit of a battle at Paul Ricard, and there was a car perpendicular rejoining the track at one of the fastest parts of the track as well. So that was a code brown as well in an 8-hour race. You wouldn't want to take out your top two drivers.
Feels like in those moments there's just so you might be wondering how I got here.
Yeah, well, yes, this is me.
Yeah,
you wondering how I got here?
Cue the "we'll be right back" meme.
Yeah.
Now I tell you who this has worked out a little bit for, and that is Britt. He has been able to close that gap back up. Everyone very wisely, and I think you can tell. Like, this is the difference. The better drivers see an incident, a yellow flag, and they just slow down a bit. You know, like you can do that. That's okay. And maybe I've been guilty of slowing down a few yellow flags as well. We all have.
Oh, early days, I was very, very guilty of it, but I think being guilty of it is also a way of learning your lesson.
That's it. That's it.
Well, yeah, if you come around a corner and there's a car on the track on your racing line, you're going to die.
You can't throw your hands up and say, "What the hell, man," when the marshals are waving yellow.
Yeah, yellow flags.
What you, sir?
Yeah, but it's ACC, remember? Sometimes they can still be waving green flags when there's clearly a car that's 180 degrees the wrong direction.
That's it. Well, I know that the stewards have started to get a little bit tighter on. If there's yellow flags and you plough in, you might get a penalty yourself as well if you compound an incident you could have reasonably avoided. As we see, Gallo gets very loose out of turn 4. That's going to compromise him heavily. Britt can't quite. He wasn't willing to put himself up alongside.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly an ideal part of the track.
Yeah, I think he knows it would have just hurt both of them.
Yeah, the risk heavily outweighed the reward there, so he's thought better of it, and he's just slowed up, and he's figured he'll just find a better spot to do it if he can manage to do so. Because Gallo has been very quick this race.
Absolutely. Lamb starting to open up a gap though, 1.6 seconds back to Kitching now. So he might have just found the time where he said, no, that second step is mine, I will have it. I think that might have been more of a slight mistake from Kitching. Oh no, the last lap is when they had to slow down. I'm looking at their lap times, wondering why they're so poor. It's because it's very slow. The underwear change. An Engadine moment, if you will.
Where the hell are you pulling these words from?
Someone will get it. Someone will get it. I didn't hear the trademarks based on gloves, so she needed to get the reference, but we'll see.
So I just had to ignore a phone call from a family member.
Whoa! Well, at least you got your priorities straight.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I know what they're going to say. It's the only time. It's the only time of the year that they call me.
Is it a special moment in your life at the moment?
Ah, yeah, you might say so.
happy special moment day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And you chose to be with us.
Yeah, I did. I'm more than happy to be here. I mean, I was planning on having a little bit of a weekend of it, but lockdown's been extended, so now I'm doing a 24-hour race instead.
Yeah. And we're on the same team, Braden. Would you believe that?
Yeah, we are. And I've got the wonderful 2:30 to 4:30 a.m. still.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Whatever. What else am I doing? Nothing.
I got to get in on those. I need to start practicing up because they sound like a lot of fun. So Britt is starting to fall back a bit again, but Gallo is on the back of the kitchen.
Hang on, just 2 seconds. What happened to McCourt or Lamb or someone?
They're there.
Because Gallo's the what?
What are you looking at?
The HUD was playing funny buggers. It said he was the. Ignore me.
Was it?
Yeah, it did say he was third.
Okay. I don't remember that, but I believe.
Yeah, you should have gone to Specsavers, I think.
No, it did say he was third. That's why I was very confused.
That's it. Well, there is another good battle here as well. There's a couple more Pignatas on the back of McNulty. But it's a triple trumps. So Steve Lewis, he has managed to spook a couple of drivers a few times, force some mistakes, apply good pressure. Not doing anything untoward, just good pressure. Well, unless a penalty's about to pop up, I guess. Green and Keane, these two have been fighting for most of the race, I think. And I think it's been this way for quite some time.
Yeah, so Green not quite up that 10 spots to 12 spots. He was 13 spots at one point. Not quite up that far anymore. Still holding a 9-spot gain since the start. You'd still be pretty happy with yourself about that. And it's not quite over because he is battling Keane. This battle isn't going to finish anytime soon by the looks of it.
Well, I think really good patience because it looked like to me coming into turn one, Green's had to really slow down a lot more than what he knows he needs to. He had a lot of room on the outside, could have carried a lot more speed, but would have really risked an incident. So he's just trying to be careful, cautious, make sure that he can get a move when it's safe and not risk it when he doesn't need to. So my gut feel is Keane is very much having to make sure that Green doesn't get past him. Although, as I say,
everyone in chat.
up a little bit.
I'm not blind, people. I'm just stupid, I think. And what's going on, Dalking? Welcome. This is a close battle. Lewis still on the back of Green. Oh, wants to go around the outside. Oh, maybe a switchback. Takes all the curb. Doesn't get good. Is Lambo twitchy on exit, though?
Yeah, so Lewis looking for a little bit of a switchback in that hairpin, and I think Green was wise of that. So Green really just hugged the inside and took up all the real estate and really gave Lewis no option for that. So definitely some great heads-up driving by Green here.
You can see Green got the car turned in a lot earlier. So into turn one, he should be able to get on the power a bit more. Lewis running it a tiny bit more wide, but just getting around. I think Green just being a little bit cautious with the car. It feels like on each of these corners he's usually got a bit more room than what he might think he does. Maybe he's leaving some margin for Lambo Tings. As Lewis shows off a little bit for the fans. Rear end of the Bentley. Yep, wants to break away a little bit again. Tiny bit too much gas.
Yeah, it could be a combination of a bit too much gas. Maybe that aero is just throwing off the way that he drives his track a little bit. Also, tyres maybe getting a little bit worse for wear at this point, especially following a car for all this time. Green again, taking up all the real estate of the inside of that hairpin.
Doing a good job of it, and you're right as well. The left-hand side tyres in particular take an absolute beating. Lewis very close, has to take evasive manoeuvres. Kind of pushing his braking zone a tiny bit too much. All of this means that Keane is starting to get away a fair bit more. Again, I feel like Green, he can carry a bit more speed through there. He's leaving a fair bit of room on the exit, but maybe his car setup just does not agree with it. Particularly in turn 1. Sometimes I think here as well, yeah, he can push a bit more. But again, at this point of the race, probably better to leave some margin and not risk what for him has been a fantastic drive. However, who's this Mercedes that's pulled into rear view? Oh, that might be, is that McCord? That is McCord. So they are about to be lapped. Let's catch back up with what's happened here. Kitching has fallen a fair bit behind Lamb. So now out to the better part of 2 seconds.
Yeah, Lamb just a little bit up ahead. Currently dealing with Mullock as a blue flag at the moment. I'm sure Mullock's not going to make that one too hard.
So we get the view from Gallo. Look how little of that chicane actually gets used. 80% of the tarmac there, pristine, never touched. No vehicle has ventured here.
I'm sure there's some poor soul that's adventured there, but not on purpose.
And JC points out in chat that Green has been on 3 track cuts for 25 minutes. So that is why he's so tentative and not wanting to push the limit of the track quite so much. So some good scout work for us, mate. You've answered the question that has been in my mind for a while now. Prod Breno asking which is the fastest split, this one or green/yellow? Well, yellow has Bakita, green has O'Hara. So
Yellow has Bokita and Houlihan, and green has Adini and O'Hara, so that's a tough one.
Yeah, you can't really pick between all those drivers. They're all ridiculous. They all are too quick to be here.
I mean,
put them in their own league.
And I mean, you see this, and we see this in qualifying, like McCourt very fast, Kitching very fast, Lamb very fast and somehow in Pro, Gallo very fast. Like, there's not much of a difference. And as soon as you get past the very, very pointiest of ends, where it's so tight, it's virtually indistinguishable in my eyes, except for me just being really slow, I guess. So everyone just looks quick to me.
We are coming into the final 2 minutes. We are coming into the final 2 minutes of this race. I suspect this will be the last lap, if not the second last lap, the penultimate. McCourt currently leading, has been leading the whole race, took pole as well, leading by about 13-14 seconds from Lamb, who's at a stellar race. He's pulling the gap away from Kitching. Kitching still under attack from Gallo. Gallo will be looking to get that final step on the podium. But he's going to have to work damn hard for it with the very limited time left.
So I do want to quickly have a just quick shot of this. Robert Shaw Bub now, Villanova. That is on as well, but I think we do have to see if this one eventuates in the dying moments. I think this might be the last lap. No, I think they'll get one more. They will get one more. So Gallo running out of time. He's got the gap about as close as it's been. But he just needs that bit more. He has pulled that 2.5 seconds to Britt, so I think for the first time in a long time, he can afford to risk a little bit more, knowing that it's less likely that he will lose a position. If that makes sense?
That does make sense.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh, but apparently McNulty may not have enough fuel to make it to the end.
You should laugh. That's hilarious.
Well, maybe I'll have a bit of an internalized chuckle. We'll see, we'll see. We hope that he does. Maybe he's just adding spice for us, some excitement. So Gallo, so where's the opportunity here? There's the opportunity for Kitching to make a mistake, and that's in practically every corner because all of them are challenging in their own right. coming up the hill if he can carry some more speed through here. And he's taken every inch of track that you can realistically take. I'll let him close it up.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't seem like that there's any particular spots on the track where he's going to be able to force the issue. I think the opportunity needs to show itself as he shows his nose just on the inside, just trying to put on a little bit of pressure. See if he can force a mistake out of Kit Ching.
I feel like that's not the play. I feel like that's cost him more than what it was worth. Just that little bit of being offline.
This has reeled him in a little bit. Cast out the line through the S's. It's not quite close enough to take a safe dive. As Kitching takes the inside, takes that inside line, takes up that real estate as we've been seeing a couple of rainbows through tonight. Makes it pretty much impossible for Gallo to be able to make any kind of move. Therefore, securing his spot in P3 as we've seen McCord take the win. Lamb just crossing the line, taking P2. Kitching has taken that P3. Gallo P4. Britt P5. We've got the rest of the drivers up apart from the top 5. Still a fair way back. There was 10 seconds back to P6 of Honor. Sanikas was very close behind, battling Honor there.
This is Villanueva looking to see if he can get an extra position on Mitchell by the end. I think if Mitchell had have gotten that slightly better, he might have actually lost a position as a result of it, because Villanueva would have been able to carry so much more speed.
Yeah, he absolutely had to at least lift off the throttle there. He got a little bit checked up to avoid any kind of collision. Bubniau is taking a bit of interest in any kind of opportunity that he can find as well, as he fills up the rearview mirror of Villanueva, but Villanueva does hold it together and takes P13.
Yeah, very well done by him. And Pignata, I think, will be the last to come across in P22.
Also good news, McNulty made it across the finish line. So I dare say he's going to jump into chat anytime now and let us know what his leftover fuel was. I dare say it would be like a 0.2 or something.
Something dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something crazy. Guess what, guys? Guess what I did.
I ran out of the line.
So a big well done to McCourt. Lamb Kitching taking the podium. Lamb also taking the Pro-Am win alongside Honor and Van Vliet for the Pro-Am podium. So the double podium there. Villanueva, Green and Lewis for the M class. So Phillips, you can see there with his 30-second penalty, does drop him down to P14, unfortunately. But all in all, that was actually quite a clean race. We saw
it was a clean race, and it was a treat as well. It's not often that you get a clean race that is also still exciting at the same time, because a lot of gaps start to open up, and you kind of just got to sift through and find where the battles are. But the battles all over the place in that race. That was a very spicy one to watch.
My stupid track map thing's not working the way I want, so you can just see my server picker instead. Battles all the way through. I think there was opportunities for pretty much everyone that we saw throughout. It just depends on where they could catch, were they in a position to make a mistake, and it's a track that just rewards you consistently not making mistakes, which is a good thing.
As we welcome Alex Bowen into the commentary box as a bit of a stand-in for Sneakers tonight after his fresh new start in life. And Alex Bowen will be filling those shoes tonight. How are you, Alex?
I am good. How are you?
I'm very, very good, thank you. Did you catch much of that race?
I saw towards the end of it. I did hear that. Did Bender end up running out of fuel at the end?
No, he made it in the end.
He made it.
Not good enough. And there goes the tyre barrier.
I've been wondering.
Rocket League.
Does it do any damage to your car at all? No.
I
You
don't
just
think
take
it
it out.
does. Yeah, I think it's just tyres. Like a few small sets of tyres, that's it.
They seem like
Yeah, but
very
still,
light tyres.
It's probably a stack of what, like 4 or 5 tyres. I think if I drove through that at that speed in my Kia Rio, there'd be a fair bit of damage.
I think the airbag would go off
I'd
to
say so.
start with.
Yeah.
I think the bigger problem is why are you driving a Kia Rio?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering
Hey.
too. Why? Yeah.
Oh,
nothing-
look, it
there's
really
nothing wrong
doesn't
with Kia
suit
Rio.
my. It doesn't suit my line of work whatsoever. I'm a carpenter and I have a kit.
I was
But I
gonna
bought
say,
it
that
before I
doesn't
was a
work.
tradesman. I bought it when I was a musician and a singer, and you don't really need to pack a whole lot when you sing.
Mate, I mean, I don't drive a Kia. I'm not defending the Kia Rio because I have one. But they're a fine car. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, it's reliable. It's very reliable.
Oh, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the car. I think the problem is that it's a Kia. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the bigger problem here.
I mean, the Stinger that they put out is quite a good car.
Oh, the Stinger's quicker than the Mustang, but
Yeah,
still, it's a Kia.
Yeah, like
Yeah, they're good,
like they could
reliable.
probably chuck that thing in supercars and it would absolutely dominate, but still, it's a Kia.
Yeah.
Why are you comparing my Kia Rio to the supercars?
You're just that good a driver.
You just see Braid in the background of the Supercars broadcast. Here he comes down into turn. Oh, hang on.
Whatever, you'd change your mind on how you feel about a Kia Rio if you started taking the racing line with it and hitting curbs with it. I know a couple of racing lines
was
around
gonna
my
say,
area where I live.
yeah.
There's some good racing lines.
I was going to say you probably hit all those curbs and take all the racing line.
I do. I'm going to sell it and not tell them what I've done in that thing.
I mean, some of the competing cars up for sale have probably had much worse things done in them. So.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, for the most part,
Yeah.
I've driven it like a grandma. Like, I'm terrified of speeding fines because it's just an expense that is not worth it. Also, speeding in general, very dumb. So, I usually drive like a grandma just because, I mean, it's a smart thing to do, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but are you an authentic grandmother? Is your head only just over the top of the wheel, and are you sitting as close to the wheel as possible?
Oh, look, I'm not leaning back like a... What are the words I can use here?
Yeah, yeah.
Like a sick,
be
like a
careful.
sick dog. Like a sick
Yeah,
dog.
yeah,
Yeah, you're not a sick dog, you're a space dog.
That's right.
yeah. That's true.
This is what we've come down to. And Blitz points out in chat, Kia Rio 0 to 100 faster than walking. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, but it's a Kia.
Mate,
How? I
you
think
even
my
have a
biggest
car?
question with that is how the
No
hell are you
comment.
meant to do 100 walking?
hang on. Raise your hand here if you've got a license. Is that just you and me, Brad?
That's right. I am raising my hand.
All right, mine also up.
I mean, I can get my L soon. I mean, I can actually start doing the online test for my L's now, but
I mean, yeah. Turns out, and cars are expensive.
Yeah,
They are. They're very
advice,
expensive
boys.
at the moment.
I mean,
Don't buy a brand new car unless you're on really solid coin because you don't want to be paying off a car for a bunch of years and then by the time it's officially your car, it's a piece of crap.
yeah,
Exactly.
I got my first car for $50 at a slab.
Oh, I inherited mine
Oh.
off my brother as a Daihatsu Charade that originally belongs to my great grandmother. She didn't leave the Dunlops on there that she used to do drift racing in, so I didn't get those. Just chuck the.
I want to
Puranas
meet
back
your
on.
great grandmother. She sounds sick.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you'll meet her anytime soon.
Uh,
I had a 1976 Honda Civic. It was 2-speed auto, 2 doors, and I had to keep at all times pretty much a full bottle of oil in the boot because it went through it pretty quick.
and you had no mates?
Look, I mean that was unrelated to my car. Mate, tell you what, a $50 car is much better than than one you can't afford. Or just,
Yeah, that's a bargain.
Yeah, I'm looking at cars at the moment, and some of the prices are absolutely ridiculous at the moment.
You know how much
Yeah.
it cost me to buy that car back? It is
About
even like
$100 in 2 slabs.
no, mate. You
Is that is it the Bitcoin of cars?
You go.
Yeah.
You can't really find them because if they still exist, then they're just too expensive because someone's taking care of it. No, I saw one
Alright.
for 10 grand.
All right, gentlemen, we're heading into official session, so I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll leave the reins to Alex. Just thought I'd stick around and have a bit of a chin wag with you, gentlemen, while we're in free practice. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. So, yeah, have a good night, lads. Hope this race is just as exciting as the last.
No worries, mate. Go enjoy some cake.
Mate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you have
I
a
will.
good night, Broden.
See you guys. Take it easy.
See you, mate.
See ya.
So now he's gone. The average age has just been lowered by about 10 years.
So
Yeah.
you know that if I leave, the average age in this room more than halves.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Aren't you like 100?
36 for another.
So if
week
you
and-
put mine
another
and Alex's
3 weeks.
age together, you still wouldn't get that number.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think. Hang on.
Because
No,
I'm
you-
15.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you'd get 32.
Well, for all of this weekend, I'm gonna crack a cold one, which is just a can of Coke. But you know, I guess it sounds.
I could go and get lemonade, but I can't be bothered.
I already finished up my lemonade.
Yeah.
It's not a school night. Well, I'm gonna go to work tomorrow, but
I was gonna say I've got homeschool tomorrow.
yeah.
Yep, same here. I mean, instead I'm just gonna step on my water.
It's a good idea. I should get some water. I might go and get some.
So while he's doing that, Alex, what's your take on this track? Because we've chatted about it, obviously, for pretty much a session now. I've said that I love it. What's your take, though?
I quite like it, except for the last sector after the chicane, because those two hairpins just ruin the flow of the track completely.
That's a fair point. I think GT3s and hair. I mean, no one really likes a hairpin, I guess. But it feels very. They do feel quite uncomfortable.
It feels like it's been put there just to extend the track length for like minimum track requirements.
That's a good point. It may be. It may be.
But the rest of the track feels fairly good. It's quite a nice flowing track.
Peach saying in chat, definitely more suited to GT4s. I think I agree with that.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd agree with that. It's a great track to hot lap, but yeah, definitely more suited to the GT4s.
I feel like I've said it a number of times tonight. I think it's it felt to me like a very technical track. In that, how you get on the throttle, how you carry the brakes, and how you trail brake through the corners, makes such a massive difference.
Yeah, it takes a lot of effort to really put together a very clean lap around here. It's very difficult, but I like that difficulty, and it's quite a fun track to drive. So yeah, I quite like it.
That's because you're a Merc driver.
Just because you spun off at like turn 5 last night on lap 1.
Don't know what you're on about. No idea.
No.
I did worse. I promise you that. I don't think anyone has had a worse individual moment on this track than I've managed. Okay, I mean, so the full confession is I came out of the final hairpin, and my left rear was, I think, punctured because it was getting a little bit low. It was like 26.5, and it had lost a lot of pressure. And I lit it up a bit too hard and ended up, 90 degrees, blocking the pit entry between the two walls. So that was a teleport to pits. You have not completed your pit stop. You're 4 laps behind. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm just going to let everyone else race for the rest of the night.
Yep. Well, looks like I was right. Lucas down in the chats has just given me a bit of a quotation from somewhere. The Melbourne Loop was built in 1985 to increase the lap distance to 2.5 miles, or 4.02 kilometers, and allow the track to host Grand Prix motorcycle races.
Right.
So it was actually built to extend the track for like minimum track lengths.
Yeah, it feels like there would be smoother ways to do that, but I guess they just may not have had land at the end of the day.
Yeah, the amount of land you have is always gonna hurt it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there's some very good pieces on why you can't just reverse the tracks. I think Chain Bear does one on his YouTube series about Silverstone. He's like, if you try to reverse it, this is why it all doesn't work. And
Yeah,
it
just
sort of
doesn't
make
work.
I'll tell you what is working, and that is the Astons and Mercedes. How is that segue back in? Zach Smith, Ben Floyd in the low 126s already. Gibbons following them. Jacobs mid 126s. Sorry, I said 127s. I meant 126s. Still got not a large split between the top 8 at least. Let's start to get some lap time improvements. Rashuti 4/10 up on his best. Make that 5.5, although he's got a BMW to get past. And they have graciously let him aside. I think they are blue flagged. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, they are. So they're not on a valid lap. That's fortunate for Rashidi. 6/10 is going to jump him up into the top 10, but how far is the question? Takes a very wide line, very late apex. Maybe setting himself up for a better next lap. Still P9. But, you know, grabs himself a 0.5 by getting a better exit.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there. There's still time to improve on, but I'm sure Rashidi can get it.
Yeah, well, maybe let's follow him through, because he is on a gain. Gets the car right out to the left, cuts the corner just nicely, runs some grass. It's going to hurt, but not as much as you think usually. You can get away with it.
Sometimes seeing the grass can be faster. Actually, it's weird.
Here it is not.
Weird.
If you touch it, you die.
Yep, you definitely want to stay on the curb there.
This one you can cut the hell out of, and sometimes it helps you rotate the car, although risky in the race.
Yeah. In
He's got
qualifying, you can take it, but in the race, you definitely want to think twice about it.
It looks like he's really got this setup dialed in as well, because all through the top of that hill section, he was able to just keep it absolutely pinned.
It's also nice seeing that the tyre barrier's just off to the side, laying down, having a bit of a rest.
It's about 12 tyres strapped together. That would make a fair dent.
Yeah, you'd think, but it is just the rubber that you have. But yeah, you'd still have some density in there.
Yeah, Rashidi gains himself another 10th, but he still needs to find a full second if he wants pole. Sean Jacobs is coming into the final chicane now. He was a few tenths up, but he's lost it, I think. No. Lost it on entry, but gained it on exit. Pulls himself up into P2. Still needs another 10th.
Look at time.
We've seen some great stuff from him in earlier races. Big old cut. Audi does not tings him into oblivion just yet.
Take notes, Hobbsy.
Yeah, so I'm taking notes. If he goes faster than me, I might take he's going to go faster than me. Oh no.
Just wait until the final corner.
It's a problem though that the Audi on that exit, it just bogs and you lose so much time. I hope he goes faster because he's doing very well. Lose a lot of time on exit though. 26.7. It's a very good lap. P6. There's a big gap to Corey Sweet, so he's just going to have to try and make some time up and keep that P6 for himself.
I'm not sure. I've not actually tried it. Can you brake boost in this? Is that effective, or is that a straight way straight into the wall?
Brake boost, what, the Merc?
No, in the Audi. Just hold it in first.
Yeah. No, you can't.
Gas and brake? No, that's bad.
The Audi. It's very good out of corners, so usually it's very good out of corners, so it's not really a car you can brake.
Some tight old lines there from Samwise.
Yeah, that's pretty tight from Samwise. You know, that's P6, so Sam's just lost that time. But nah, brake boost in the Audi doesn't really work.
Yeah, I know you can off the line, obviously, but that's a different story. Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit wide from McIntosh there. Going way too deep into that second to last corner, sorry.
It's easy to do. Sometimes you're just pushing that bit hard. Because it's a downhill braking zone.
Yeah, if you miss your braking point by just a matter of meters, you can run very, very deep.
I feel like this is going to cost him big as well, because he's got to narrow this line. And I reckon we're going to see... Yep. There we go.
And the Audi also goes off.
Yeah, you're on a hot lap. You're trying to carry the speed that you normally would, and you just don't brake quite enough, and...
Looks like he's gonna.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go
bring into the box.
Yeah, because I have noticed thinking about it now. Actually, let's see who else is on improvement. I think no one for the moment. Pretty much everyone's just gone into the pit. Sweet might be about to start a hot lap. Oh, he's halfway through his laps. He's got a way to go. Smithy is on a flyer. So he's slightly off. So his tyres will be coming up to pressure. So normally I think you notice the difference between the great drivers and the newer drivers or less experienced drivers on a lot of tracks, that break point, there can sometimes be quite a big difference between them. But here, I think, because the really tricky braking zones are almost all downhill. So coming down into the chicanes are downhill. The next two hairpins are downhills. And because it's so easy then to carry too far... Whoa, that is one hell of a cut.
That's invalid.
Yeah, that's how far you have to go to invalidate.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels like everyone actually has a very similar braking point, regardless, because you cannot push that limit by much at all. And indeed, the incident that we saw in the last race, I think, on lap 1, might have had that as part of it. So Smithy does wisely square off that corner, get himself a slightly better run down the end. It's a couple of hundreds. Take that day of the week.
Maybe just a tad wide at the apex of 1, but he's managed to just hold the time.
Yep, gets the car very quick over to the left. We've seen some cars will struggle to get the car out to the left into turn 4. He was able to just pull that straight across, which is always nice.
Hit the apex all right there. He's about a tenth up, give or take.
So the car is
quite wide there, though.
Good point.
Where is he braking? Just before the last of the boards, and he gets it through.
So close. There was millimeters in track limits there. Hopefully this Lambo does not hold him up. Gets a good entry. His exit, not so good though. Gains a little bit of time. Aston is rubbish out of that hairpin as well, just because of the
turbo lag.
The turbo lag. Let's see if he can gain any time. He had it. Is he going to improve? He does, but only just. No, I can't read.
So he kept P3. Yeah, so he's put a couple more hundreds. That Lambo head is Raschuti, who's currently in P11, and not far behind. So, and Rashuti's on a good pace as well, so he does not have to give up that spot. He's on his hot lap. Let's have a look down the order to see who else is gaining. Zanshin is a tenth and a half up. Tenth and a half would get him a position, maybe 2.
Through the chicane.
Yeah, it looks like a little less aggressive.
Have just been informed by the race director that a 5-second penalty for car 118 for blocking that will be received at the start of the race.
That's unfortunate. So that's Pete Viney will get pushed a bit down the order. So 5-second penalty. So he'll have to serve
in the start of the race.
So he'll still start in his qualified position, but he will be a bit down the order. So have a look here. Sean Jacobs has found himself. He had a half-tenth before. Now that looked like a pretty neat hairpin, although wasn't able to get the power down as much as he'd like. 2D, maybe, no, later apex. Grabs himself a 10th. A 10th isn't quite enough, but he's getting there.
He's got to really put it all into this last lap now. He wants any shot at pole, although he's a bit wide and loses time in the process.
Not by much though, because he did manage to get it controlled and squared off. So that's okay. Very aggressive on that corner, but the unsettling of the car probably cost him another half-tenth. So they a bit on the throttle, holds it neatly, regains that 10th, is back on flat.
Gets it through there, alright. He's lost time on the exit though.
There's not much in it. I mean, the hairpins can be such make or break. So just coming in at a close enough time is good enough sometimes. Oh, huge run through the chicane. That's a good gain.
What can he do through these hairpins? He's kept it pretty well through there. He's on track.
He needs 1100s.
He's... Oh, he might have it.
Oh!
Oh!
With
Same
identical
time.
times. Oh.
Oh.
Let's see who else is out there doing a flying lap still. Johnson, he's down. But he might be able to pick something up on there. Chewietz is in P19. He's not been having a great start, but I'll catch him in just a second. Looks like Johnson not able to improve. Chewietz is a bit up on his time though. Couple of tenths is the gain. I'm still shocked by that P1, P2. We'll see how he closes this out. Chewietz gains 3.5 tenths, better part of 4 tenths. That's going to jump him up to our P17 it is. There we go. So, as we say... hang on. Oh, okay.
Floyd's done a better time.
Floyd just did a better time anyway.
But, wow. Nothing between them for a good half a minute.
Yeah, that was just... If that had stayed like that, that would have been absolutely insane.
Yep, it would have been like the final race of '97 in F1 when he had Villeneuve, Schumacher, and Frentzen set the exact same time in qualifying.
That was so close. And I mean, yes, Floyd did go into another 10th thereafter, so he's kind of ruined it for us in a way. I think. Couldn't he have just left it there with the mirrored time? But no. I mean, props to Floyd. That is an outstanding. I'm not even sure what the time was in the end now.
It was a 25.8.
25.8. That's disgusting.
Very, very quick.
That is outstanding work. But now the real test: can they do that reliably for an hour without making mistakes, or big enough mistakes that they race in? Because there's a few of these corners, as you pointed out. What is it? Turn 5, where we saw someone cut onto the grass a fair bit and actually gain a half tenth. Some of those other corners, though, where you are off into oblivion. And I think about 2 seconds after you put your wheel on the grass, the Skyrim intro starts. Look, I thought that was a good joke, alright?
Well, it was okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Grass, wall, hey, you're finally awake.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
If someone could clip that together, find a good crash, segue into the Skyrim intro, I'd love to see it.
Yeah. Just take a point of view of like the Imola crash.
The Imola crash? Which one?
The one that basically everyone got caught up in, and there was still a green flag waved by the marshal.
Oh, he's just excited to see everyone racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Or you could edit the Bathurst liveryville Odyssey Racing did, where you just have the car coming straight into the Aston with like a front-on view. You could probably cut that into the Skyrim, hey you're finally awake sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not sure if you remember that one, Jamie.
Yes.
Yeah. It may be something only us young ones can remember.
My memory's not that bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not that bad. That was where Ollie got absolutely hammered. Alright, we're coming up to race time though. Who wants to take the start?
Yes. I mean, if you want to take Alex, go ahead.
I might take the start then. I haven't taken the start for a while, so.
It's all yours.
Anyways, all right. Well, we've got Floyd starting from P1, followed by Jacob, Smith, Gibbons, and Sweet. Mercs with a good show as they just come around the final corner now. Safety car peels off, and it's all in Floyd's hands now. Let's see. Gaps are looking fairly good. Probably the best I've seen for a while. As we go green, looks like Floyd and Jacob's got roughly the same start, although can Floyd hold it? Yes, he can. Let's see. Further back, looks like we're all clean as we've got side by side between what's that, Gibbons and Sweet. Sweet seems to have gotten the upper hand. Got Nowdy getting past Bentley there, so. No, it looks like we're all clean.
That
There is a bit of an off at the
We
back,
do
I
have
think.
a few yellow flags at the back. It's what? Oh, it's
Ooh,
Tom
Sanderson.
Sanderson.
And the safety car is rolling. So let's have a look back here. So Sanderson is the Lamborghini center screen.
Oh, just up ahead.
Yeah, you
And there
can
must
see
have been
the
another
cars
one.
up
He's just
ahead
taken it
and
off
the Honda
track and
just.
spun and.
Yep.
Yep. Oh.
Oh.
Not back on track. Oh, that's
Oh.
that's a fair call from the race director there.
Is that always how you react to incidents, Hobbsy?
Yes.
Just
Massive
when.
disappointment of that's the way I react to everything.
Just when you're in the car and you spin off. Oh.
No, that reaction that was a little different.
It's just
I can't say what it was.
it's one of those moments I think where you can't, because the cars are just sliding along the grass and heading back in towards the racing line. And
Yeah.
you can't, like when you're on the grass, you can't even hold, like holding your brakes doesn't do anything. You just slide more. So it's a bit unfortunate. The slight relief is I don't think I saw any super significant damage. It didn't look like anyone got massively hit. There's some spins, but no kind of T-bones or, face first into a wall moments. I think there's probably one or two others though. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, it's always nice when your stream decides to improve in quality after the race start, when when seeing the names doesn't matter nearly as much.
You know what? That is my fault. I forgot to do something. So that should probably be a little bit better now.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better. It's looking fairly crisp now.
Okay. Yep. My apologies. OneDrive was just trying to sync the entire replay of last race to the clip, so that was nice of it.
That's always fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That might have been why it was a little blocky.
It would have been. And it would have been through a few of the sectors, so apologies, guys. So what have we got? So Floyd has held his P1. Jacobs P2. Smith 3. Sweet 4. Who's any kind of big gainers or anyone who's kind of missed out on that? Sen's gotten up into 7th. I think he started a touch behind that.
I can't really see many gains or losses, really. It was fairly clean, I reckon. Yeah. It all looks about the same, although I think Missen's gotten up ahead of Rashudi.
And Sen and Baldwin I did see going side by side, as you were calling it. And Sen got the better of that. Other than that, yeah, not too much of a shuffle. And interesting as well, one of the first races we've seen all week where the pros, the pro-ams and the AMs are all actually fairly bunched up by and large. So that's always interesting. Now,
Yeah, it's really only just a few stragglers who are ruining that consistency as the safety car is coming in.
it looks like we're already off. Floyd has hit the gas and runs stringing out a fair bit. Let's have look a bit further back, because this could be where it gets a bit tight, a bit congested. Already Pete Viney looking to have a run on Zanchin. He's taking the wider line. That's going to set himself better up here. Going to be some cold tyres around the field as well.
Oh, he's got a
much
great
better
run
exit,
out of turn
but-
1.
Oh, he can't go to the inside though. Zanchin has held him off. That's a good move there, but there is this uphill bit where things can go very wrong. It'll go probably wrong for the Honda more than anything. As we see another Honda, that's neighbour on the back of Matrio. Really just trying to force the mistake. So the two Hondas here might try and work together. There's two Astons though. Oh, Viney hit that curb. I know the dangers of hitting that curb. Just held it though. So now Powell and Zanchin might try and work together to pull away from the pack behind. There we go. There's Viney's 5 second as stated from Quali. Wait to see how the Honda takes this chicane. Not a lot of curb as I sort of suspected, just because it can't take too much. And the Aston's just like, what curb? What's that?
Yeah, you always seem to pick cars that aren't great at taking the curbs, don't you, Hobbsy?
Yeah, something like that.
He's got a knack for it.
I do.
Oh, that Audi got quite close to the back of Raschuti.
Who is that Audi? Is that Sen has dropped down?
Yeah, it's Sen.
Yeah, wow.
So has Sen gotten caught up in an incident somewhere?
I thought I saw at the Melbourne hairpin, rather, something going on in the corner of the screen, but I couldn't quite catch exactly what it was. And who are we missing? So something's changed up ahead. Smith is now down in P6. Floyd is on his own.
Sweet's up to second.
There's been a bit of a shuffle up the front end, but we'll see some more action, that's for sure. Let's go take a look. This is from Jacob's perspective. Floyd is 2.5 seconds clear, so I suspect there's been a bit of a scrap behind.
The tyre barrier is still there, although it's a bit on its side.
I've never seen it take a small hit. It either gets yeeted into oblivion or stays there.
Yeah.
Jacobs has to slam on the anchors harder than I think he would have liked. Sweet blocking kind of where he'd like to be set up for the exit.
Oh, there's a look from Jacobs.
It's a car off. That's Sen. Oh no. That's...
Oh no, what's happened? Oh no, chicane. I'm gonna be very upset.
I've gone a fair way
This
back.
is gonna be some sadness.
Oh, he's held it.
It's here.
What's happening? Just, yeah, gone.
And then...
What?
That's weird. That's a very weird incident.
That looks
Maybe
more
the brakes
mechanical to
just...
me.
Yeah, that could be more of a mechanical issue. Must have just had no brakes on that grass if that is the case.
Yeah, that's a bit unorthodox, but yeah, unfortunate there for Sen.
So it didn't look like he braked that late that you wouldn't eventually get it pulled up while it's still on the tarmac. I know I did that a number of times in practice. And he was still carrying a fair bit of speed when he went off the exit there, so the tyres are actually on the track now. Okay, that's good.
It's almost like the brakes just didn't apply.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for it to carry too much. But...
Some fighting going on there between Sweet and Jacobs, and Smith's trying to get involved in it. It's gone side by side there with Jacobs. He's going to try around the outside, and has he got it? I reckon he might have this. He's got the better run out of the corner. He's got the inside, and he has.
He's taken it. He's taken a very nice.
Whoa! What's that Bentley doing? That scared the living.
And also, apologies. That was Holmes and Gibbons.
Yes.
That's all good. Yeah, no stress. Yeah, I wonder though if Gibbons has he half let him go a little bit as well? No, probably not. At the pointy end, you don't really want to let anyone go, do you? 787 is off into the field. That is Sen. What's he done? What's he done? I think he's lit it up on cold tyres coming out of the pits.
Ooh, bit of a cut there from Smith. Might be a bit of a warning. It took way too much curb, so
You can cut the hell out of that corner and not get a warning.
Yeah, you can cut it a hell of a lot in cars like the Aston and the Merc, the Bentley.
And often, because it's a slower track than what we see a lot of the time, depending on your setup, I think a lot of them actually run relatively soft anti-roll bars. So much of your weight is actually on the outside that the curb doesn't upset you that much. If you run very stiff ARBs, then you're still holding a fair bit of weight on the inside and it starts to really upset you, so it can help to shift the weight to the outside. But then it hurts a bit when you overload the outside edge through Coppice, McLean's through Coppice at 10, 7 and 8 up at the top of the track, so it's an interesting one from that perspective.
Meanwhile, we stick on with this battle between Holmes and Smith. Holmes currently P4. It's currently 1, 2, and 4 for the front 3 Mercedes so far. It's pretty good for them in the teams wise. Can Smith push one of them down?
oh, well, he'll try, and he will not give up until he does. I think Samwise is his first target. Can't wait to see how he gets past.
I mean, you'd think Samwise is his first target, considering Samwise is the one who's right in front of him.
Well, that was logic, but it just sounds better.
Samwise is defending a bit though, so this could affect his run out of the corner, although the Aston is slow as all buggery out of the hairpins.
It does not like low revs at all, and you have to dip a long way down into first. I did notice that Holmes' front end is a little bit scuffed, so I wonder if that's him collecting the pile of tyres earlier, or whether or not he's touched. A mild touch might have occurred, doesn't look like anything too severe, just a little bit of paintwork.
Yeah, hasn't really affected his speed all that much.
You can see Jacobs is starting to really get away from these guys, so this scrap is costing them both, I suspect. Although their lap times, mid 127s, this pace of the race, that's pretty slick times.
Yeah, those times are fairly good at this stage. You probably be, for some of these faster pros, they'd probably be aiming for maybe high 26s, low 27s, but mid 27s are definitely respectable.
Yeah, well, Smith is a 127.3, Holmes is a 127.4 last lap. Their best so far, although they've pretty much always been in scraps. Just touching into the 126s for Smith and 127.1 for Holmes, so not a huge difference.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to tell where the drivers get caught in scraps fairly easily towards the early stages of the race, because early in the race last night, I was told by my race engineer that I had fast slapped the race at one stage. So
There we go. Due to Sen has retired due to his accelerator being stuck.
that would explain why he was couldn't brake properly then.
Yeah, just accelerating and braking. Oh, that doesn't work.
Much harder to stop the car when the accelerator's open.
Not ideal.
I mean, I guess you could switch it into neutral each time. Do not recommend.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to kill the engine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a virtual engine, it's fine. So Gibbons is, I think, actually starting to get drawn back into this scrap as well, so let's maybe just have a look what he's seeing. Use him as a camera. Let's give it a bit of this, though.
McLaren very low down on the ground. We see the tyres just sitting there. That they're probably not going to stay out of the equation for too much longer, I'd say. Because they are quite close to the track.
Yeah, I think it's far enough off the line, though, that I reckon they'll... Well, I mean, we can't do wages, poles and whatnot, but I reckon they might actually stay there till the end. it's a tough call. See Ben Wright, he's in the chat, as he is wont to do, asking where Ben Deek's at. I will check for him, but
He's
only
currently
for you.
16th.
Yeah, he's being hounded by Matrillo, to be honest. So, second in class. You can see a class win ahead of him. He's got 45 minutes yet to go, so we'll see. But yeah, Matrillo, I think, might have him. Well, it depends. They're both doing very similar lap times. Audi is going to be tricky to maintain around for this long.
It is quite hard to overtake around here though, so gonna be interesting to see if Matrillo can actually get a move done on the Audi of Bendik.
I feel like there was a half opening there because Bendik did do what I've pointed out a few times.
Oh, he's having a go up the inside, and he's just completely thrown out the window what I said, and I think he's got the move done.
Yeah, he's gonna let that one go, but he's. Oh, he could go for the attack down into the chicane. I wouldn't recommend it. The BMW's got the straight line and the better exit, so...
Yep, just completely ignore what I said earlier.
Yeah. Oh, gone wide. Oh, he's kept it, though. He's going to be on attack. It's going to be attacked. I'll get my words out. Girardi, yes.
Oh, it's optimistic to have corner rights there, I think, but...
He's gone for it.
Won't let him get away with that. That whole overtake is set up at turn 4. I want to kind of point it out as we come through. Oh, that Girardi's going into the pits, so I'm going to find a battle going into turn 4 where these boys have just gone past it. Damn it.
Smith's fallen back.
What about these guys? Viney's on the back. Right, here. So, you've got to get all the way over to the left in order to open up turn 4. We'll see a few times in a battle the car ahead hasn't gotten themselves far enough over to the left into turn 4. They've not been able to position. They've not hit turn 3. Usually that means you've not hit the line you really need to swing the car around without trying to pull it too much. But it compromises you all the way up to here at what's that, turn 8. Well, more turn 7, but sometimes to turn 8. So that's the opportunity. That's what I feel like we've seen a few times throughout the night. And you've just got to be ready for it as the driver behind.
I'm actually watching two things at once. Not only do I have this up, but I've got Olympic soccer up at the moment. Australia's just scored another goal against Argentina.
Let's go, Australia.
Yep.
It's coming home?
It's current. Australia's actually up 2-0 on Argentina.
Don't. That's just like saying Jacobs is on the back of Sweet, but then he bins it in the next two corners.
Jacobs is on the back of Sweet. What do you want about?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, no spoilers though, because there'll be people who want to watch this after.
Yeah. It is only the group stage, but that's all I'll say about it.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, this is looking nice and feisty, and Smith is still stuck behind Holmes. Indeed, that gap's opened out to a second at the moment.
Oh, what's the tyre barrier doing in the middle of the road? What's it doing?
It's been there for a while.
I think we've commented it on every lap.
Yeah, we've just been mentioning it quite a bit, so...
just shows how much my brain is melting right now.
Maybe you're starting to get a little bit old, Hobbsy.
Wait, I can't lie.
Yeah, you can't.
Get it, because, well, I mean, I can't really talk because I'm only 2 years younger than you.
Well, actually 1 year, and well, something like that.
Well, I mean, I turned 16 in August, so...
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm also getting a bit older, but I've still got a few more years in me before I reach the midlife crisis stage that Jamie's gone through right now.
Yeah.
So I've still got a little bit before me. I'm not that. Really.
Yeah, exactly. Not that long. So any day, if Jamie just starts talking about very expensive things, he's having his midlife crisis.
Oh, especially Jacob's got a little bit loose in turn 7.
Well, I mean, technically, we are talking about very expensive things.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Jacobs is close, but Mercedes thick.
He seems to handle that chicane pretty neatly, to be honest, as well. He could turn that in with quite a lot of pace. Hit a good mark.
That's McLaren. It does everything you want it to and more.
I feel like he's holding good pace. He's not really making mistakes, although he's getting a little bit loose on the rear in a way that it doesn't look like Sweet is doing. And you'll be hitting that mark, 20 minutes into a set of tyres, they usually start to give up just a touch. Although this is the DHE tyres, so they won't degrade too badly. Drop off is an
Smith and Gibbons are in the pit.
I think it's a good move by Smith.
Time. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think the undercut could work, but he's going to be on those tyres for a little bit longer, and we know they can start to go off depending on your excuse me, your setup. So
yeah, last night I was towards the end of the race. I was carrying home 3 tyres that had pressure losses.
Yep. I only had one,
So-
but then I only made it through half the race. So, you know.
Yeah. Was fairly happy to have a fairly clean race overall, though, for once.
yeah, or switchback maybe. No, Merck got a much better exit, but Jacobs knew that. He's being patient, but I reckon if I'm Jacobs, I'd think about
Oh, that's an Audi.
I think about that Audi that's across the track.
Yeah.
So that's
I think about, is that Frustruck? I think about,
And he's just lost it.
Audi things.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it may have been something to do with the brake bias, and I had a similar thing in quali, so it's sad to see when those sort of things happen. But
It's sensible
move
stuff,
on from
though.
that.
He just put it in reverse. Got it turned around. I think he actually drove into the pits because that was delayed a tiny bit.
Yeah.
if you're Jacobs right now, do you pit?
It wouldn't be a bad shout, I'd say, for Jacobs to pit, because I feel he's being held up a little bit here by Sweet. Jacobs, I reckon, has the pace. It's a slight look up the inside. So if Sweet doesn't come in, then I reckon Jacob should come into the box and try the undercut.
It's not a bad idea.
Well, yeah, he's got to try something.
Just anything to try and get past Sweet.
Yeah, awareness. Weather's not likely to play a part here. So everything's looking nice and stable in that regard, so you can't bank on anything there.
Yeah, wind watch at the moment. 3 kilometers, that's not a lot.
It's not going to change much. It may also depend if you've got your tyres bang on pressure at the moment. As you kind of pointed out, like it's very easy to get a bit of pressure loss, and then you can't load the tyres up a much, and it really starts to cascade here. Because it's such a short, aggressive, windy track. If you're not pushing the car hard enough, you start to lose pressure quite quickly, and then you can't push the car hard enough.
Yeah.
So, not the easiest. But for the moment, they both seem to be pretty comfortable lapping. I mean, they're lapping mid 127s.
Holmes has picked up 10 seconds.
Ooh.
Now
That could really change the complexion of the race.
because we did comment on just that little bit of a scuff on the front of his car, and we wondered where it came from. And maybe that has indicated that there was an incident that he was responsible for. There you go, you get a good view of it.
Yeah, you can see those scuff marks fairly clearly on the front of that Big Benz.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's what it's about. So Smith is out at the pits. He's yet to... I think he started his first full flyer. He's just done his outlap.
He's in
No,
a lot
indeed.
of clean air.
Yeah, he actually just did his first flyer, which was a 127 flat. Holmes is doing a 127.6 last lap. So we'll keep an eye, but it looks like this undercut might get the job done for him. The 10-second penalty will put it to rest regardless, because that will be served in the pits for those who are unfamiliar. Let's see what else is going on, because there's some more battles. Okay, Rashudi v Misson. Rashudi coming in. So, when Misson does his pit stop, we'll see if this undercut works for him. Rashudi was right in the back of him. We'll try and remember that one. Matrillo, we did see a while ago, has now gotten himself onto the back of Wolf. And did close up by 4/10 in the last lap to Wolf.
Matrillo is doing a fairly good job so far, I'd say. He's been doing rather well, keeping it clean. Come onto the back of this Mercedes. Will he be able to pull a move that he did on, I think it was Ben Deek?
It was
earlier on.
I think he won't.
Oh, he looked.
He did.
I wonder if that's just a moment of like, if you run wide, I want to have the line to go take this. But unfortunately, it's cost him a fair bit of pace. But still, not a good run. Looks like he's getting himself maybe a slightly better exit into that chicane, but he's a bit of an equaliser at the same time, isn't it? You can't really push it that hard.
Yeah, if you push it too hard, you'll either go spinning off or you just lose time on the exit.
Yeah, that's it.
Just finding the right balance around here is crucial, as we see. Bit wide from Matrillo, getting a bit of the dust. McIntosh has come into the pits now.
See that little bit of dirt next to the final corner. It's cost Matrillo a fair bit in terms of pace. Or no, that one you can get away with a bit of grass. It's okay. So Wolf, I don't think has anything to worry about right just this second. Matrillo getting a little bit, maybe it's either the rotation that he wanted or maybe a little bit too much rotation, but then tamed it very quickly.
Oh, it's a little loose out of there.
Yeah, I suspect that kind of gives it away that in turn 7 it did rotate a little bit more than what he wanted. So he's come into turn 8 a bit too conservative, a bit too hard on the brakes, and actually whipped it around too much. He wasn't...
But yeah, Wolf is holding off the challenge of Matrillo quite well, and Wolf is leading AMs at the moment in this race, so good pace from him.
Doing very good work. This is McIntosh on the back of Smith. So McIntosh has just come out, just done his first flyer, I think, out of the pits.
No, this is his outlap.
This is his outlap, right? Sorry, it's 1:32.3, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So he has slotted in slightly behind Smith, or Smith has taken him on the outlap. But there's an opportunity there to stay in touch and maybe come back at him.
Yep. McIntosh doing a fairly good job so far. He was qualified a little bit down, but has managed to regain some of those spots that he missed out on in qualifying.
Yeah, that's a good point. Chariot's we can see in the pits in the number 5 Ferrari. It looks to me like, yes, Smith has just walked away from McIntosh to the tune of 7/10 in the last sector. Could be McIntosh just getting some tyre pressures back up. Doesn't want to push it too hard. Ben Floyd into the pits. So that's from the lead. We'll see what happens with that. David Mason behind in the Bentley. He's in as well. Holmes yet to pit. We're only just hitting a halfway mark though, so not massive surprise. He's doing mid 127, so you'd have to say pretty comfortable that Smith would have jumped in even without the penalty. Things calming down for a moment here. Baldwin on the back of Gibbons, though.
Floyd is in the pits.
Floyd, yes. Yeah, I said that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Lawson's got to drive through.
Oh. There'll be a track limits, I assume.
Yep,
Track
hasn't
limits,
pit
yeah.
yet, so that will definitely be track limits. But Baldwin's right on the back of Gibbons here.
Lucas Dowd asking if Smith's lost time in chat. I don't think so. I think it's just a pit stop, and I mean, a 127.5 is what he did last lap. He'd want to be doing a bit more with clear air, but he might have had some blue flag traffic or something like that to deal with. It's also possible that he's slotted in behind some drivers that haven't pitted yet. I've seen that happen a few times. Matrillo and Zanchin both in the pits as well. So this is all going to start to come together shortly. Keep an eye on it. I do want to check. Floyd has come out into super clean air. He has got nothing to fear. Corey Sweet in the pits. So we'll see where he slots back in. Vadik is staying on the back of Wolf. So this is, I think, the M Class podium on the cards for one of these two drivers, depending. What on earth?
That's a blue flag Jag.
That's a Jaguar.
What on earth am I?
Van Dijk is 9.6 seconds
gone,
behind
just
as Wolf comes
fixated.
into the pits.
Okay, well, you know. Okay, he's still chasing down Wolf. He's just chasing down
He
more
is
than what I
just
suggested.
not where you're thinking.
Yep, that is true. Okay, well, let's move on from that mistake. Let's see if I can find another mistake to make. Let's go here back to Baldwin as he pursues Gibbons.
Seems to be being about the same spot as he was last lap. 7/10 back from the McLaren of Gibbons at the moment.
Yes. I feel like through the night we've seen a lot of drivers just good, consistent, reliable execution. And whoever makes the mistake gets pounced on. Which I think is part of the sign of all the drivers being so similarly paced to each other as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the pace gap between a lot of the drivers has come down over the past few seasons. It's good having close racing like this.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Baldwin there just having to play a little bit with the steering angle to be able to keep the power down without the rear kicking out. He's in a bit deep into the first part of the chicane, I would have thought, but again, it's a fair equaliser, so it doesn't really change too much. Goes up tight under brakes. I assume that's a blue flagged Bentley ahead of them. It might not be blue flagged if he hasn't pit yet. Miss and Johnson and Powell all in the pits as well. So we're going to see a final order once everyone comes out. Then he gets himself out of the way. That's number 45. So that is David Mason just to make way. Baldwin coming in on a narrow line from turn 1. It's going to cost him a fair bit actually. So I'm not sure if he was spooked. Maybe he saw someone coming out of the pits and was a bit worried about it. He just didn't get the car where he needed to be. So
Jacobs and Holmes are into the pits now. Be interesting to see where Jacobs comes out in comparison to Sweet. Sweet's actually only come out 1.2 behind Floyd.
he's gained a lot of time between that earlier pit stop. So Floyd not out of the woods yet because he had a fair old gap before all the pit stops came in. See what happens. Baldwin, I feel like he's coming into that chicane a bit late.
He doesn't have to take it all. It might gain him time, but I don't think he wants to risk it. Even though he is in the Bentley, you probably don't want to risk losing all that time just yet. if he's got track warnings too, that could be playing a bit of a part in it.
That's a good point. Just to hold this, and there's cars coming out of the pit lane. This, I think, might mix this one out. They are...
Wait, Jacobs is in the lead.
Jacobs is in the lead.
That's well played. Oh, but Floyd and Sweet are both there. Ben Dyke probably will pit soon. He's probably trying to extend as much as he can. That Merc is lurking very quickly. Looks like he's definitely closed that 2-second gap down. I'm sure we'll see that as they come over the sector line here. Yep, so we're down to 1.2 now. So Jacobs is going to be under a lot of pressure. I think he might want Ben Deek to get out of the way. Hopefully he pits for the sake of Jacobs, but we'll have to see as he's forced deep because of Ben Deek. Let's see though.
Fairly well played strategy by Jacobs though. Managed to get the overcut on both Sweet and Floyd.
But the unfortunate thing is it could be absolutely ruined by Ben Deek here. He does go in the pits. So now Jacobs can absolutely just go for it for the next 25 minutes.
He threw stuck around again.
Yes, I suspect there's another Audi Tings moment coming into turn one. He said he's not sure what to do.
Just
That's
runs
an odd one.
Yeah.
And I find ACC is actually really confusing there because you'll come. I'm sure you guys have experienced. You come through the pits, come on pit exit, and they'll be like faster driver. So you think you need to let someone through, but no, it's not. You're not blue flag to them at all. It's just got no idea what's going on. At least maybe that just happens. Either way, yeah, it looked like you could definitely see that uncertainty. He wasn't sure if he had to let that car through or what he should do there. And ultimately, it's gone to custard a little bit. Either way, so Floyd's got a gap to close and a position to try and grab for the lead. Let's see, Holmes, after serving that penalty in the pits, is now down in P7, so it's cost him a bit, no doubt. He did run a longer stint as well, and I think a few of those drivers got some nice, good, clean air and were able to get some improvement there. Rashudi is up a fair way, up into P6 now, so that's good work by him.
In comparison to Misson, who was his closest competitor before the pit stops, he's gained quite a bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And this little clump has started to spice up a little bit. So this is Misson, who you just touched on. Holmes, Misson, Gibbons and Baldwin. All in a little bit of a cluster.
Could be quite interesting going towards the final 20 minutes, or final third of the race. We've got quite a few different battle packs throughout the field, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. We're keep it half eye on that gap between Jacobs and Floyd.
I mean, the top 10 hasn't really separated too much either. Really, only big gaps you can see are like Smith 4.1 behind Sweet and Rashudi 6.7 behind McIntosh. The rest of it's fairly closely spread. As Floyd's only 4/10 off of Jacobs.
Yeah, so we're right on the rear. Question is, when can he make a move? Let's have a bit of a look. Touches the dirt a tiny bit on exit, but it cost him a fraction.
Takes a tighter line than the McLaren.
He's just done so well to close up that gap. But it was still 20 minutes, so I think Jacobs is just henching his bets on Floyd making a mistake. Floyd's pulled out a big gap to Swede as there's a dead Lambo there on the right.
Yeah, I was just about to say, speaking of mistakes, that...
Yeah, mistakes, there's one.
It's Tom Sanderson finding a new way to let cars through when you're blue flagged. I think he's fine though.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the most ideal way of letting cars pass, but it's a way of letting cars pass, nonetheless. See how much changes through here. Seems like they had a fairly equal run through the chicane. McLaren should have a bit of an advantage through the hairpins though. Oh, Floyd gets up very close to the rear of that McLaren on brakes.
I suppose that's one of the things at a much lower relative speed. Half second closes up. He's closer this time. You can see they take very different lines into turn one. With Jacobs going for a very hard kind of later apex. Try to carry more speed on the exit. There's not much in it really.
Nah, that they give you about the same result in the end. Sometimes I'll prefer using the later apex, sometimes I'll go for a harder hit earlier on to get more speed earlier. Floyd running third through that. That's interesting. Gets down to second.
Might just be looking to avoid some wheel spin. Very easy to get it. I think a bit too happy on the throttle and kick the car out.
Yeah, throttle modulation on the Mercedes is definitely a skill you need. He is gaining though on Jacobs, so this battle could last right up to the final 10 minutes.
That's it. Let's have a look a bit further back down at this clump that we saw earlier. They've now drawn Raschuti into the mix. So what was Holmes, Misson, Gibbons, Baldwin is now Raschuti, Holmes, Misson, Gibbons, Baldwin, and blue flag.
Love a good bit of blue flag. Might get in the way of Samwise. Hopefully breaks early just to get out of the way. Does get through. Raschuti, wider entry to prioritise the exit. I think he's timed that well with the blue flag driver, but Misson needs to get past Samwise first.
Taking very similar lines there. McLaren taking a lot of curve on the inside, I noticed. Kind of runs fairly wide around turn 2, so it's curious. Indeed, it's cost him a fair bit of pace, to be fair, although the blue flag had kind of interrupted his flow, I guess. I feel like a lot of this time it's just about not making mistakes and trying to get them to make a mistake. So you see a Jag wisely getting completely out of the way, lets all 5 through, continues on. See there's an off, that is 463, that's Frustock has had another moment. Audi Tings on full show for him, unfortunately.
Oh, Samwise is having a look at Raschuti up the inside at the hairpin.
Oh, is he going to pull it up though? Oh, it's going to cause Misson nearly tap Raschuti. Oh, he did pull it up, but Raschuti's not going to give up. Samwise staying for the inside. Misson or force deep. That's going to give Gibbo a chance to stick his nose in there. I think Samwise has pulled it off even with a bit of a scrappy dive.
Yep, his managed to get his way back up to P6 ahead of Raschuti in the Lamborghini. Can Raschuti do anything to fight back though?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Just try and carry better lines, I guess. I think Holmes will be hoping that he can now start to walk away a little bit because he'd been hounded by Misson and then Gibbons for a long time. Raschuti will be doing his damnedest to make sure that that does not happen. I didn't exactly see what caused Holmes to be able to get the run though.
Just a better run through the chicane, I reckon.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because that Mercedes would be able to take more curb than the Lamborghini you'd expect.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, because from my driving experience in the Lamborghini, definitely can't take all of the curbs in that death machine.
Yeah, it likes to remind you about its roots.
Yeah.
I'm noticing in P1 and P2, so Floyd has actually fallen a little bit back off Jacobs. So it's just a touch over a second at the moment. But
Jacob's tyres must be getting within the window now.
yeah, that's a good point as well. A bit further back, we do have Girardi, Matrillo, and Viney all scrapping out, and that is for the final place on the Pro-Am podium. So we can see... Oh, is that free stock? It is. He's not having the greatest of races, but he's out there having fun one way or another.
Yeah, as long as you're able to try and enjoy yourself out there. It's definitely not the easiest to do when you're having unfortunate incidents like that happening, but just gotta keep your spirits high.
Yeah, that's it. So this is Chewiot's on Benzik in the Audi. Oh, Baldwin, I just see P10 picked up a drive-through.
Oh, that's going to be track limits. You'd
Yep.
actually be surprised, can't even believe I'm saying this, that it's really easy to get track limits around here. You wouldn't think that, but going wide at that fast right-hander, you'll get a warning. The chicane's very easy to get a warning.
I think I only got one proper warning throughout the night last night, and that was running a bit wide at turn 1.
Oh,
So we see
BMW
the
round.
BMW's around. That's
Matrillo.
Matrillo.
Yep.
So he's fallen right off the battle for the. He's just run wide, and yep, around she goes.
It does.
Good piece of mind to get off the racing line, though.
I can tell you the BMW loves to stall in that moment as well, so he's been good to get the car started again and then get back out there. So some good work. So where it was 5 is now 4 with the drive-through having to be served.
Baldwin still stayed in P10 though.
That's true. So not the worst, not what he'd like, but not the worst.
Of course, he would have loved to have stayed in this battle for longer, but at least he knows that he's still within the top 10.
That's it. I mean, being part of some of these battles is what we race for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would just do hot laps.
Yeah,
Hot
exactly.
laps. Do you want to try that again?
I said hot laps.
Yeah, he did say hot laps.
I enunciated strangely
I'm just-
because I had a half.
You did.
That's alright.
Yeah. Just don't hiccup next time. Jamie's just over my crap.
I do. No, I mean I'm pretty tolerant.
I mean, to be fair, I would too.
Yeah, I probably would too.
It's a lovely.
At least we can all agree on something.
See, oh, Viney was right alongside and indeed has taken a position off Girardi. Might actually be able to catch it. So at this point he had already grabbed the position and Girardi trying to grab it back going around the outside, but wasn't confident carrying that speed in a wider line around and has to give up the position to Viney.
Did Viney get that position through the chicane?
He's gotten it a touch before wherever I jumped back to. I'm not exactly sure where though, but you may be right. He may have been able to grab it then.
Because it looked like Girardi got a much better run out of there, so I reckon Viney might have actually gotten it in the chicane.
Yeah, you might be
So
right.
that's a fairly nice move there then by Viney.
Oh,
That's a blue
stock,
flag.
I suspect that is free stock. He's Just kind of got stuck there as a blue flag. Not sure where he could have gone.
Didn't really have anywhere else to go, so nothing else he could have done. That's fine.
That's okay. It is worth noting that Chewietz has managed to get past Bendig and Chalmers sometime in the last couple of laps. So he was right on the back of Bendig. I wanted to see what happened there, but not to be.
Meanwhile, it seems like Samwise has sort of checked out a bit from this battle. He is still in touching distance, almost, for Rashidi, but for the most part, Samwise has left this battle for now 7th position on track.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not sure if there's. I know it's very short, right? So toes are not massive, but every car is pretty much running max downforce. So being able to stay behind as well is probably helping them out just to carry some speed through the straighter sections where you are able to get up a little bit of pace.
Yeah. Oh, Misson got a nice run out of that hairpin. Has a look around the outside.
Switchback maybe. That would be... Oh, he had it. But he's got to ruin the exit to just make sure not to tap on Rashidi. That was well timed, well executed, just up until the point when Rashidi closed the door on him. That was well battled by both of them, but now it's pushed Misson back into Gibbo.
Gibbo's always there to take advantage of anything that happens, and he'll definitely go for it if anything happens between these two.
That's it. Just keeping an eye as well on that 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that was tight. That was tight. Misson having a look.
There's an opportunity, isn't he?
Yeah, it's really racy at the moment. Is that Nissan? Missed it in the Nissan.
That's right.
Who's meant to be. It is worth pointing out, Jacobs is opening up the gap slowly on Floyd up to 2.5 seconds.
Oh, that's a good run out. That's a good run out of the chicane. Misson's going to go up the inside. Rashidi here in the hairpin.
Oh, can Rashidi get the better exit? No, he can't. He needs to close the door now, Misson, or else Rashidi's still going to go for it.
Knock the nose up the inside. Oh, that's tight.
Oh, that's a tap. He's got it round, though. That was well executed. Well done.
I'm not sure whether there was a tap there, but it looked mighty close.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I think Mission could kind of say, mate, you shouldn't be there. You weren't really up alongside, but at the same time...
Nah, it's just good clean racing between the two of them. It was very well. That was very well executed by Misson and well fought by the two of them.
Well, I think it's I think Misson might have caught Rashidi napping a little bit. Rashidi didn't realise just how good an exit Misson got through the chicane compared to him. So otherwise, we've seen Rashidi. He will just cover the inside line, make sure that you can't get through and whatnot. But that time he just didn't.
So, sometimes being around the outside of the hairpin isn't all that bad because you can get a better exit on the outside sometimes than you can on the inside. Rashidi's a little wide there, just a little touch of the grass. That's going to invite Gibbons to dive up the inside. Oh, that's deep. That is deep. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rashidi just blocks him off on the exit as well. Says, no.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Oh, Gibbons is having another look. He really wants to get past Rashidi at this point. He doesn't want to lose sight of Misson ahead.
Yeah, and he might be feeling like Rashidi's vulnerable. He's just lost the position. It might be a bit heated. But if he keeps his calm, then there's definitely that position up for him. It might take some heart knowing that Jacobs in the same car is actually just walking away a little bit from Floyd. Floyd did look to have had an incident in the last lap, or maybe just some blue flags. So 129.2's significantly behind the pace that we'd expect from him. Meanwhile, Jacobs doing 126.8.
Well,
John,
that's some good pace there by Jacobs, especially at this point in the race when the tyres are screaming.
He must be feeling good about it. I mean, Gibbo's feeling good. He's still on TC1. He's fine with that. Not a stress.
But not quite close enough to go for a dive bomb at the hairpin this time is Gibbo. He's just happy to hold behind for now. He's only got 5 minutes left to get a move done on Rashuti, so he's really gonna need to get it done soon. Blue flags may come into his favour.
Yeah, I think he's going to need to force a mistake from Rashuti, but Rashuti's really consistent and has that gap to miss in. It's not quite enough though. Still maybe just that slight bit of dirty air, but other than that, if Gibbo's going to want to get past, he's going to have to push now. And there's the mistake.
We've seen though,
Can Gibbo capitalise though?
you can run on that dirt and it just costs you almost nothing and sometimes gains you, as Alex said earlier in the night. Indeed,
Yeah.
it can leave you into like a false sense of security, like, oh, they have made a mistake, I can pounce on that. No, you actually kind of can't. It's one of the strange spots.
It wouldn't have done any good to Rashuti's tyres though.
That's true.
Because at this point in the race, it's very easy to get a pressure loss. So, or as Gibbons has now hit the grass himself.
There we go. Sweet is getting onto the back of Floyd as well. I might have to look at that in just a second because I suspect something's up with Floyd. He's
Yeah,
not
lost
doing
quite a bit of the pace.
Let's have a look. See if, I mean, I don't expect to see him, unless the cameraman finds him, any kind of damage on the car. He was at
his rear
128
tyres
as
are
well
gone.
last. Yeah.
That's what it'll be. You can tell just out of that fast right hander, the rears are just... I'm just going to press the button again. Just holding on for dear life, so I think he's just holding on.
He's so
with Sweet.
cautious through 7.
Yeah. Let's see
We'll
how
see it
cautious he is
again,
through
mate.
here on the accelerator. Yeah, he's playing it cautious. Sweet's on this fresher rubber, I think. So Floyd's in a bit of trouble here.
He's suffering through what I had to deal with towards the end of last night. Just
Oh, that's a
not
cut.
quite having the grip in the tyres, as you see. Small mistake out of the chicane from Sweden in the mirrors. Too bad. He's got to slow down for the hairpin at least.
Yeah, so they only pitted 1 lap apart. Floyd did pit that 1 lap earlier.
Sweet seems to be holding on to his tyres better though. And as I say, that gets loose out of the final corner. 28.6.
Doled it up to TC6, so
I know. I think that's just what Sweet's been running.
oh, okay. There we go. Well, what's Floyd on? He's okay, same. So no difference.
I think last night I was running TC2 throughout the night. Or TC2, TC3. It's probably TC3 actually.
Sweet has to be a bit tentative as well, so his left rear probably not feeling pristine, but we suspect that Floyd, unless Floyd's had an off in that lap where he did kind of a 129 and he's really punished the left rear, he's had a big kind of drift moment, he's now having to cool it down a bit.
We do have some blue flags here that get out. One of them seems to be getting out of the way sufficiently. Let's one of them go. Waits till after the hairpin to let the other one.
It's a tough call.
It's going to cost him, but...
We'll be moving on to the final lap now.
Let's take a half look here as well. I'm not sure which one to look at. I feel like Floyd's just gotten back into the 127, so maybe he's feeling okay again. I kind of think this is going to be the battle. Well,
Yeah,
it's probably
this
gonna
will be
whichever
the.
one I don't choose.
Oh, we had a split screen up.
Ah, yes. It'd be nice. Let's have a look. A lot of it is really just keeping an eye on Rashudi's car ahead, actually, to see if there's a mistake, a moment, anything.
Little touch of the dust on the outside there for Rashudi. Not going to cost him too much time, but may ease Gibbons into maybe making a move. I don't know.
I think Rashudi knows that P7 is off the card, so he will be in defense mode and he can defend it very well. Sweetie's right on the back of Floyd. Stick with this. Both giving about everything they've got there. Nice and clean, no mistakes. The chicane is where the final big opportunity comes.
Neither has finished the race.
Jacobs has won this race quite well, actually. He's done a brilliant job to take the win here at Donington Park in split red.
Yeah, congratulations
Well
to
played
him.
from him.
Don't think Gibbons is close enough to make a move though.
No,
He
that
looked
would
for it,
be...
but he can't. So, well played there from Shitty. Good defence. Gibbo tried, but just couldn't get there.
So, excellent work there. Wolf, I think, is going to come through and take the AM class podium in just a few corners. Powell ahead for the Pro-Ams.
The wins, you mean? Not the. They're going to be at the top of the podiums.
Yeah, top of the Pro-Ams for Matthew Powell. Ahead of Zanchin and Viney in that category. And then Wolf Bendick's already finished for second in the AM class, and Mason probably go down to the wire, actually, because Fowler and Mason, which is the Jag and the Bentley, for the AM class, it's right to the wire, and I think there's a blue flag Jag involved. No, that's Bryce Mettings.
Oh, is he gonna
Did he get it?
Get it?
Oh, side by side. They.
Oh, got it.
He did. Fowler just pips Mason, and that is for the third step of the AM class podium. So a good scrap right to the end.
That was a very determined move there by Fowler, and it paid off in the end. Well done.
Yeah. You always remember the positions you grab just across the line. So for one, it'll be a great memory, and for one, it'll be a little bit more sour, but that's okay. And I think Dale Lawson gets to be the last across the line. I know. Okay,
He's already finished.
Behind, so it's already finished. So let's get our race final. So as we say, Jacobs, Floyd, Sweet for the overall and the pro class podium. I think, as was pointed out, really good strategy work. Dieball's stated, and I agree with certainly, by Jacobs to get out and have a run. And Floyd wasn't able to get back on top of him, indeed started to fall back. Very close by Sweet, I think. There might have been an opportunity a bit later on. In the Pro-Am, Powell, Zench and Viney for their podium. So a couple of Aston Martins and a Honda sneaking in there. And then, as we saw in the AM class, Wolf, Bendick and Fowler just pipping Mason for the final step. So yeah, for you guys, what's your takeaways? Any highlights? Driver of the day?
Well, the overcut seems to be better than the undercut. Because, yeah, Jacobs was very good at the end of the night. And honestly, I reckon he's a good candidate for driver of the day. Had a great race.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best strategies we've seen all week there from Jacobs, just going as long as he can and then overcutting them all for the win. That was just, it was well driven. Just kept Floyd behind. Floyd then made the mistake, which put him into the hands of Sweet, which basically just put it all together for Jacobs.
Yeah, absolutely. My MVP is Donington Park. I think that's a great track. I think it was great to watch. I like it.
How much have they been paying you?
I like these technical tracks, right? Like I dislike Monza. I dislike Monza because it's just a whole bunch of straight lines and immediate braking, right? Like I think the flow is really, really, really interesting. The chicane, the hairpin's rather a bit annoying.
The hairpins are garbage.
But the track just flows really nicely. It tests the drivers, and it does require that you just be clean and be consistent all the way through. And I think it's great for that. So I hope to see more. Either way, it is about bedtime for me, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And thank you for everyone in chat being part of it. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you at the next one.